Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, and welcome to Movie Watch Live. Tonight, we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the first Bond movie to feature Roger Moore as 007. That movie is Live and Let Die from 1973 and starring Roger Moore as 007 with Yaphet Kotto as the bad guy, Kananga, and also Jane Seymour as the love interest, playing Solitaire, the psychic and Bond's love interest. So tonight I'm joined by my co-hosts, Baron Tony Nasser and Double North Ralph. Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome to the stream. How are you both tonight?
I'm good. I'm very good. How about you?
Good.
This morning I woke up single knot. Now I'm double knot.
Well, I'm trying out the new music option on there. Did that sound all right? The theme there coming in? It sounded okay, didn't it?
I think it did to me.
So I'll apologize for there's no video intro tonight due to technical problems. That wasn't uploaded earlier on, but certainly we can sort that out in the editing room later on. So tonight
we'll do it in post.
Tonight we're celebrating, like I say, the 50th anniversary of the movie Live and Let Die, which was based upon the novel written by Ian Fleming. So the movie was released back in 27th of June in 1973 in the States. So we're not far off the 50th anniversary to the day, really. 12th of July, a little bit later for United Kingdom. So I'm a little bit early for the July UK release date back then. As usual with most Bond movies, it's a running time around 2 hours. And of course, produced as all of the Bond movies were in those classic era days by Albert R. Broccoli. Jane Seymour is the love interest in this movie. It was the first major role for her. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Yaphet Kotto plays the bad guy, as we've mentioned, who actually went on to be in some other really big movies as well. Plays Dr. Kananga in this movie. But Tony was mentioning earlier that he was also appeared in Alien some years later, and even in the Arnie movie Running Man.
Yeah,
so
I think he's best known for his role in Cybernator.
Other people to star in this, we have Julius W. Harrison as T.E. Johnson, who's the man who wears the pincer tip prosthetic arm, and T.E. because he's always smiling and laughing, and also, of course, Jeffrey Holder as Baron Samedi, which I think is that French for Saturday. Samedi, I might be wrong, and he's the henchman who is the guy with the white and black face, who performs all of the rituals in the movie, and is ever present in the background. Doesn't say very much, but has a fantastic laugh. And also, we have the fantastic Louise Maxwell as Miss Moneypenny, or as Sean Connery might have said, Miss Moneypenny. And we have also in this version of Leiter, Felix Leiter, played by David Hedison, who was in a lot of different things in America at the time, and of course TV shows. And
also came back to Felix Leiter as well.
You did, yeah. He came back to do that.
Yeah, License to Kill.
Yes, another fantastic movie. And the guy who plays the sheriff, because I always used to confuse when I was a kid. You always confuse. Well, I did different characters with each other, and I always used to get the sheriff in this movie confused with the sheriff in Smokey and the Bandit. You know, when you were a kid, you sort of like, do you know what I mean? The crossover in your memory.
I used to think it was Buford T. Justice that was in.
Yeah, and I used to think it was the same guy, and I thought, no, it's not, because when we went back and watched Smoking the Bandit, I thought, and then I watched because the same character appears in the another movie after this, doesn't he?
The man with the
Uh,
golden gun,
Man
I
with the
think.
golden gun.
yes, and it's Sheriff J.W. Pepper, played by Clifton James, who's the Louisiana sheriff. So very similar character anyway. But yeah, a nice little cast. It's not a huge cast, but it works quite well together. And of course, as always, the well-known theme tune, and also on top of that, one of the best loved songs written specifically for the movie. In this case, by Paul McCartney and Wings. In fact, I think Paul McCartney and his wife wrote the lyrics for it together, but performed by Paul McCartney and Wings. One of the most well-known Bond songs ever, if not the most well-known, but certainly in the top five. And of course, this one's directed by Guy Hamilton, and he was quite a talented director who did other Bond movies as well. So
Did
you
4 of
might
them.
be familiar with, yeah, he did Goldfinger. He did the movie immediately before this, Diamonds Are Forever in 1971. Interestingly, like we were saying before the show, they did approach Connery to do this movie, but he declined it, which is why they had to go and find Moore. But yeah, he also did The Man with the Golden Gun, and you can see because the same because it's filled with one thing this movie does do really well is action scenes and stunts, and it's filled with that. And those stunts are carried directly over into A Man with a Golden Gun, which is why we again see Sheriff Pepper and other characters there. So there's a the Live and Let Die and The Man with the Golden Gun are really closely associated with each other because of that for a reason. And really good director. I mean, Goldfinger is such a good movie, and you can see the same kind of style in this movie that you saw in Goldfinger. Personally, I think Goldfinger is, in my own opinion, a far better movie. But that's just because everything comes together in Goldfinger. Live and Let Die. It was a big ask because Roger Moore is just coming to the role, and to some extent, in my opinion, anyway, he does play it a little bit more like the Saint than Moore at this point, because obviously he was well known for the Saint up till that point, but he does do a fantastic job for his first ever Bond movie, and he builds on it. And Man with a Golden Gun is obviously, for me, is a really really good movie where Roger Moore really finds his feet with the role in Man with a Golden Gun. But this movie is so full of action and comedy, which was something that marked Moore's style. And you've actually done a video on this, haven't you, Tony? If you want to check out Tony's channel,
Hmm.
what's the name of your channel, Tony?
I'll put a link in the description. I think
Stick a
it's
link in the chat
yeah,
there, and I'll stick a link in
yeah.
the
It's
description
a
later as
friendly
well.
chat, but I'll link the video specifically.
But one thing I think you mentioned was that one of the themes of Roger Moore, his Bond, was that there was a lot of comedy, tongue in cheek in it, because he wasn't afraid of you know sort of sending himself up, was he? And
No, not
and
at all.
and a lot of
The
a
thing
lot
is,
of over
there
the
are
top
there are
stuff.
moments where he is quite brutal,
Mhm,
and even threatening. And even in this one, where he threatens
mhm,
to break a woman's arm,
mhm,
and it's like it doesn't feel right for
mhm,
Roger Moore to be doing that, but it
mhm,
becomes that over the period of films. Where you go as he
mhm,
gets more comfortable being
mhm,
a
mhm,
tough guy.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, and I think we were also talking as well, Ralph, earlier, about the archetypes in the movie and the cliches, and how it is quite cliche. But I mean, back in the day, it was more mainstream and more acceptable, and it was released at the height of the black exploitation, what's known as a black exploitation era,
Yeah.
where if you're a black actor, you would either play a gangster or a pimp or something like that.
Or yeah,
Um,
it could be Frankenstein, could be
yeah,
Dracula. I mean,
yep, yep.
yeah, and an odd time in Hollywood. But
Mm.
yeah, there was that that's its own little subculture. But yeah, this kind of
it
doesn't really
taps
dip
into
it.
it.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't really do more than dip its toe into it. But yeah, it's
yeah,
a bit of a nod to it in this.
yeah. It is because it sticks out from the other Bond movies for that reason because it's it, it I don't know when was Shaft released.
Early 70s.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure
it's
it's like a tip of the hat to all of that anyway. But yeah, a fantastic movie, very fun, a lot of stunts, a lot of comedy, and a lot of excitement. And it changes location all the time, but it sticks to three main locations being New York, New Orleans, and the fictional island of San Monique in the Caribbean.
Oh,
Um,
and
the
yeah, and you bringing up Shaft. Shaft came out in '71, so this
There we
is
go.
a year later. So
There we
yeah,
go.
makes sense.
So it's not it's the stakes aren't huge on this movie in regards to the villain isn't really what you would say he's a super villain, but it is an interesting. It's sort of close to the. I won't go too far into it, but it's quite interesting how it's about the CIA's involvement in the war on drugs, and
Not that the
uh,
CIA would ever do anything,
no.
So
never.
Well,
never.
Tom Clancy, who wrote Jack Ryan, um, I'm just watching the new season of that at the minute, and the interesting thing there is again, it's about the war on drugs, and I don't know. There's lots of interesting takes on the connection between the CIA and the drugs
Oh,
world, but
read the book of not Somerville. Here's Clear and Present Danger. That's what it's all about.
yep, exactly. So Bond is never like, um, well, how shall I say it? It's more entertainment than trying to be gritty reality. Well, the original ones anyway, um,
Mm,
and it's not meant to try and
yeah.
make anybody feel depressed for sure. It's certainly
No,
not that way.
no,
It's
exactly.
it's
Yeah, it's an opportunity for you to sit back and you know who the good guy is, you know who the bad guy is, and the bad guy may be naughty, but or I'm sorry, the good guy may be a little naughty, but he's
yeah,
a good guy. You know he's the good guy, and you know the bad guy is
quite
bad, and
clear, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have to deal with all the shades of gray. You can just kind of relax a bit and enjoy things.
This is
So,
it. I mean, if you want to watch something which is actually representative of, like Tony was saying there, another author that I like is Jean Le Carrier, who wrote Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy,
Yep.
okay,
amongst other things, which is one of my favorite
yeah,
stories. And
I'm pretty
I
much
did not know
limited to
that's how you
Dr.
pronounce.
Seuss.
I didn't know that's how you pronounced his name.
that's how I pronounce it. But I'm probably wrong. That's the way I was brought up to say it.
I always
Jean
thought it was
Le
Le
Carrier.
Carre.
Le Carrier. Well, I am a Geordie, you've got to forgive me for that. I'm ignorant from birth, so
I've never heard it said, so I mean,
that's the way my mother used to say it. So I just had to say it the same way else I get told off. So
oh, that's
Yeah,
fair.
guys, I'm from Tech. I live in Texas. I can't make fun of how anybody says anything. So
well, to be fair, in my part of the world, we don't really speak English anyway. So this is my posh voice. So anyway, so without further ado, we'll get started on the movie. Like Ralph mentioned, I believe it's 2 hours, 1 minute, and 38 seconds. Is that right?
yes,
And that's the copy we're using ourselves now. As we said before on this channel, this is a commentary channel, so we don't show a copy of the movie for obvious reasons because that would be a breach of copyright. But we will be providing a link to where people can watch it. But I mean, you can get this anywhere for like a couple of dollars or a couple of pound to watch if you want to watch along with us. And the the stream that we're doing here is mainly, I suppose you could call it a podcast as well. So you don't have to have a copy of the movie. You just want to listen to us while you're doing your work around the house or just relaxing or whatever, you can just listen to that. And we'll provide timestamps throughout. We'll provide explanations of what's going on the screen, and also our own take on the movie and our own trivia, etc. But yeah, you don't have to watch along with a copy of the movie. You can just listen to this as you would any other podcast, and tell us your thoughts. You can comment below and tell us what you thought of it. Hopefully without any expletives, but
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. We're big boys. We can take
we
it.
are, we can handle it. And so yeah, so that's the way it goes. So you would have to have your own copy to watch along with us. But this is why we have this handy video which tells us when to synchronize our copies of the movie. I think Ralph still has his on a Betamax that he bought in 1990, well,
Yeah,
1981.
yeah. Give me a few more seconds. It's still rewinding.
It's got to warm up first.
Yeah.
Get those solenoids warmed up.
Yeah, the tubes are cold. Give it a minute. Yeah,
So, well,
anyone that's never had a tube radio didn't get that joke. So
exactly. We'll have to wait for Ralph to warm his tubes.
ooh, look at you.
Do you know what? I never owned a laser disc. I'd never had. My parents never had the money for a laser disc. But I'm thinking about getting one someday, just for nostalgia purposes, and getting some old laser discs.
Oh heck yeah, that'd be fun,
I still have a couple of movies just to have a representative of the format, but I don't have the player anymore.
So with this movie, like I say, we'll start the ball rolling together, and please check out Tony's channel, and his Roger Moore video is excellent. I would also suggest that you check out Ralph's Tea Store. Where is your T-shirt store, Ralph?
Goodness. Yeah, they
He's
screwed up
now,
the
he didn't
URL. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that one. It's Ralph's Trailer Park. I'll get a link and we'll drop it in the chat. Drop it. Yeah,
drop in the chat. We might also get Jeff later on. We don't know. Depends. Yeah. But if he drops in, that's fine.
Just the thought of this too. I think when you re-up this, the chat will disappear as well.
Yeah, I'll put both links into the description when I re-up it if I need to. So don't forget to remind me.
Don't be confused, people, if you're watching this in the future.
Yes, in the future you'll see these links in the description. So we've got that there. So we'll get started now, and like I say, we have our own copies of the movie. So the video we've got, you'll see some flashing arrows and a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and at the end of the 3, 2, 1, you'll see these arrows popping up on the screen. That's your cue to press play on your copy of the movie. And if we all try to do that at the same time, we'll hopefully avoid, like I say, as we normally do, any boomer mistakes. So let's get that started now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
All right.
There
The tubes were warmed up. That worked. Okay.
Got the lion.
MGM won the lion wars.
I still love Strange Brew where they crank his tail and belch.
One of the best. That's coming out as an anniversary soon as well, isn't it? Strange Brew.
Strange Brew, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Another excuse to watch.
83, I think.
Yeah, and here's the more glitzy 70s version of the barrel's eye view in the opening sequence.
I always love the different Bonds, how they actually shot.
Yeah, they're all slightly different.
I like how he actually grabs his wrist to basically give him more stability.
Yeah.
Oh,
and this is the United Nations building in New York.
Speaking in Hungarian.
Yes, I don't have subtitles on mine.
Oh, I have to, otherwise you'll get copyright strike.
Well, hopefully mine isn't coming through, but this is hilarious. This, because it's just like, how do we do this? Let's invent the concept of a sound bomb.
I love it. I think it's fantastic.
The guy who's playing the bored bureaucrat, though, he taps his ear and everything. And I mean, it is cliched because today all of this has been sent up, hasn't it? So, and it's United Kingdom gets pulled out. and replaced with a plunger. And it's TNT, but in the form of sound.
TNT. Oi.
You know, same thing happens to me when I listen to Eminem.
AC/DC's just too much
Same
for
thing
him.
happens to me when I listen to the Spice Girls. New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, we're in. So that we're now looking at CIA guy who's staking out Philly of Soul, and this is New Orleans. So is New Orleans is Mississippi a state? Because I'm sure now
Yeah,
written right now.
Louisiana.
Mississippi's a state, but yeah, New Orleans is in Louisiana.
Yeah.
That's so confusing because I always thought it was in Mississippi
No.
because it's on the
No,
Mississippi River, isn't it?
the
Yeah,
Mississippi
that
River
river
ends
goes,
there.
that's a huge river. Goes through
Yeah.
lots of states.
So
Oh,
it's in
yeah.
Louisiana, but it's not in the state of Mississippi because that's
Correct.
on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
Got you.
It's right
So the
next,
river is the border. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
All
it's
this
a next door
time,
neighbor
I
for
thought
us.
I was wrong this entire time.
You're
See,
being offensive to
I'm
America.
slowly acquiring geographical knowledge of America.
Yeah.
I always
So
loved the concept of a New Orleans funeral that the dirge played,
it,
and then afterwards
and then
it's
they
like,
get into this. Yeah, these are
yeah,
all Masons. You know, these are these bands and all this regalia. They're all like Masonic lodges, I think, in New Orleans. These kind of funerals. I might be wrong.
See, I have never been to one, so I can't say.
I don't know whether they still have them now.
Now, I've driven through Louisiana, but I have not gone to New Orleans. But,
I've been there. I was there in 2004.
oh, okay.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
before Katrina. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, post Katrina, everybody came to Texas. So
Yeah. Well, if they took the stupid tax off bricks, then people could make houses out of bricks instead of wood. So when you get like tornadoes going through, it wouldn't be so as bad. But then
no,
again,
then you get tornadoes throwing bricks at people instead of wood. So
that's fair enough. In that case, then let's scratch that plan. So now we're in the island of. So we saw the CIA agent getting moited there, and he said, "Whose funeral is this?" And he said, "Yours," and stabbed him. And then they pick him up with the magic coffin, which they drop over the top and pick it up, and it takes. I don't know how it works, really.
Don't ask why. It was a cool visual.
Here's the British agent in San Monique saying, "I say, it's awfully nice of you to offer me some snake, but would you mind? I'm not quite sure. Thank you very much." And
it looks terribly poisonous.
Yes. Oh dear, you seem to have hit me on the neck with your serpent. So 3 murders, 3 locations in New York, New Orleans, and San Monique. So so firmly establishes the setting for the movie. 3 different locations, and the the well expected and celebrated Bond opening sequence now.
Yeah, the whole silhouetted
ladies
dancing. Yeah, that was always a very. I mean, you knew you were in a Bond movie then. If you missed if you missed the gun barrel eye shot, when you got to this, you're like, oh, Bond.
If you're sitting down at this time of the movie, you're thinking, right, I'm still okay. I've maybe missed the opening scene, but usually it's later on in the other Bond movies, the opening scene just didn't have anything to do with the rest of the movie anyway, because it was what Broccoli thought was if you missed the first couple of minutes, some people are getting late to the movie, so let's just make the opening scene probably nothing to do.
I always like the opening scene being not relevant to the main story, like he's on another mission. Like I always thought that was better than if it's like, oh no, this is the same mission.
You gotta give the fella hell.
Oh, it's not hay. I thought he was baling hay.
No,
oh,
sorry.
Geez, this puts a whole new twist on the song.
And that's actually glass fiber, isn't it? Fiber optics. It's probably the first fiber optic lamp ever in history. Yeah, but this is it. This was the standard trademark Bond intro.
It's naked women dancing in the
Naked
shower.
women dancing with things on the silhouetted on the body. Slightly different on this one because obviously it's about it. I wouldn't say it's a supernatural Bond, is it?
No.
Because Bond is never supernatural. Um, but it's
Yeah,
about it's about superstition, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, they definitely wanted to touch on
You wanted to
Oh,
that
play on the
voodoo,
superstition
that voodoo element with New Orleans and
because
all
that was
that.
big in the 70s as well, wasn't it? Everything to do with the occult and all that
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
was huge in the 70s. Um,
Got a comment from Mark in the chat, I think.
ah, yeah. We've got a mark.
Oh, there you go.
Secret agent. On whose side?
On whose
Yeah,
side?
that's one of the best lines from Pepper, Sheriff Pepper. On whose side? And Roger Moore saying, yes. Yeah, he was. I mean, he was. To a lot of people watching this movie, they would still be watching him and thinking he's the saint because he was so well known as the saint. And then he became Roger Moore. I'm sorry, he became Roger Moore. He became
Oh, yeah.
007 Roger Moore rather
Well, it
than
was also one of the things.
Saint Roger Moore.
They were trying to. They were hoping that he wouldn't do the eyebrow raise as well because
And
that
he
was.
did. And
Yeah.
he did. So
He tried to, but he was just so used to doing
he
it.
couldn't avoid it really. So yeah, and interestingly, this movie. So you see an M there.
Yeah, the boss shows up at your house
Yep.
first thing in the
Yeah.
morning.
Good morning, 007. Would you please stop your
Shenanigans.
shenanigans and get to work, please?
This is also one of two movies from the first 20 Bonds that doesn't have Q in it.
Can I say yeah? It's because it has M, but it doesn't have Q, and that's poignant, really. That it maybe didn't want to go into the gadgets too much because it doesn't. He doesn't really use his. He only uses his watch in this,
The
doesn't
watch.
he? And it's
Yeah.
just for magnetism and to cut through a rope, and that's it. That's the only gadget he uses. He has a shark gun, but I mean, shark gun with gas pellets. There's more time spent over his coffee machine than anything else.
And his red sandwich toaster.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely arrived
The 70s.
in the 70s, haven't we? We've got the kitchen gadgets now,
Oh, yeah,
like the
going for the
fancy
whole
kitchen gadgets.
yeah, doing the whole espresso thing and getting all that going. I thought you guys only drank tea.
We do, but of course, Bond is a cultured, global person, isn't he? So he's yes, the Italians are most impressed. We're about to see the lovely Willie Penny's just walked in there as yeah, bless. Madeline Smith, I was gonna say.
Is this the first walk of shame from Bond?
It is the first walk of shame for Moore, of course. So that's Madeline Smith, who plays Miss Caruso, who was the Italian agent who's gone missing. And of course, Miss Moneypenny, the girl who got away, who Bond respected too much to ever have any romance with. She was the girl at home, so to speak. So we're already at almost 11 minutes, almost.
Zipping along nicely. Oh.
And it's an electromagnetic watch. In 50 years, sir, I'll be able to screw with anybody's mobile phone. And so Dr. Kananga, as we said, played by Yaphet Kotto, who his dad was from West Africa and moved to America, but he was actually brought up by his grandparents as a child.
Moneypenny is a heck of a wingman.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
got your
She
back.
is, and what she says at the end here is fantastic. Oh, should I say ciao, Bello? I like the way she's. Was she American or Canadian? Let's have a look. I mean, she was in from right from Doctor No in
Yeah.
'62.
Yeah.
And
Right
she
up
was
to a middle
Canadian.
film.
She was born in Kitchener, Ontario, in Canada, and she died in Australia, Fremantle in Western Australia in 2007. So she moved to Australia.
Oh, there's good old
Sheer
Pan Am.
magnetism,
Yeah, man, they died too.
and the quip straight away with the quip, sheer magnetism, darling.
Oh yes, got to get those in. Breaking out the tarot cards.
Yeah,
See, kind of dipping the toe in that into that.
Nyako.
But you know,
Yep.
that's a big focus of New Orleans, so yeah, makes sense. Feels quite awkward, you know, if it's Bond actively doing it, but the environment.
And yeah, it's a fairly straightforward movie in terms of the plot, but what is good about it is the fact that, and this is similar to the way it moves on very quickly, like Goldfinger does. You know, he's always in motion. He's never in one place very long. Um, so it's similar there. Obviously, same director, but and there's car chases, and not just car chases, but there was boat chases in Thunderball, so it's not unique for that, but the way they do the stunts with the boats is
Good,
different.
good question from Mark in the chat.
Yeah, I've
Who's
just
the
spotted
next
the chat
Bond?
there. So who's the next Bond going to be? We don't know at this stage because there's a big debate about it, because Idris has even said that he doesn't want to play 007.
Yeah, I read the same thing.
And that makes sense because he has, I think he has respect for the original character, because plus he doesn't want to play somebody who, you know, isn't him as a character. It would make sense if they're going to cast Idris to make it a different agent. Without going into it too much, it's not good for the actor really to play a character who's so well associated.
Well, it'd have to
with
be a
previous.
multi-piece deal as well, and
Yeah,
then he'd be recast again.
yeah. So here's the wing mirror of doom. Do you call them wing mirrors in the States, Ralph?
No, I'm not familiar with that. What's a wing mirror? Side mirror?
Side mirror, right, okay.
Okay, side mirror is what we call them.
Yeah, the side mirror of doom then.
Trying to think. I think I've been on this stretch of road in New York too.
Yeah.
Not. Yeah, that's amazingly good traffic for New York, actually.
Yeah.
So,
well, it is 50 years ago, so
70s traffic.
Yeah.
I think they deliberately cleared the road out for this scene.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, I've definitely been through that stretch. So yeah, right, right by the Brooklyn Bridge, the western side of Manhattan.
Yeah, along the river.
Yeah. Over by the, I think it's called the South Side Seaport.
Yeah.
I may be wrong with that. It's been 20 years.
And I think he's doing quite well for reaching over like that to steer it that way.
Yeah, I know that when my mom tried to drive from the back seat, it was never quite that good. So
he's definitely backseating there. The other thing is as well, when did French Connection come out? Because we've done this on the channel, haven't we? We've done French Connection.
Was it 71 as well?
It was 71.
I thought it was 71.
We've done it, yeah. Yeah, so I'm just wondering if French Connection was an influence on here as well, because it's that era of the early 70s in New York is really, and it's very atmospheric. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
the cars and that era of America. Hello, Felix. We've run into a little bother.
And I'm at 17 minutes and 4 seconds, and I'm enjoying this 1972 wallpaper. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
holy moly, man.
Kananga on tape. Oh, yeah.
And cleverly done, though, isn't it? The way he does this.
It's your pip gear.
Yeah, I mean, that suit only screams one thing, so.
You just cut across to San Francisco and be in a Dirty Harry movie.
Yeah.
It'd be a one-way trip. Oh,
So,
cult. Oh,
copy
how.
I've got decided to
oh.
break, so I'm just going to quickly get another copy
Alrighty.
from somewhere else because it just keeps lagging. So I'm going to try and get a better connection through a different service.
Gotcha.
What time stamp are we at now?
18 and 23 seconds.
I'm a couple of seconds behind, but yeah.
Oh, well, so I'll pause until we get. Let me know when you're at 18 and a half.
I just passed it.
Right, so he's in the store.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
There's yeah. Oh, what is it called? Oh,
Cult something.
oh, cult. Yeah. Have you
There's-
seen this shit that's in this store? It's like all the stuff in here. Yeah, the skulls for ritual purposes only. I like it when he takes the.
the snake.
Can you wrap it lengthwise, please? Obviously, it's just another Bond, phallic reference again. So, that's normal. Can't get away with. You've got to have those jokes in there. So off he goes into the back of the shop to find the
death
pimp, the pimp mobile, and here we have Jane Seymour, as Ralph said earlier, Seymour of Jane Seymour.
Hey, I gotta throw those dad jokes out somewhere.
So Mark said here, Ian Fleming was a great writer. Sorry, Mark, I've just caught up with the chat now, sorting out my copy of the movie. Books seem to be fading, unfortunately. More digital seems to be the norm. Will movies eventually fade? I think so for the time being. It looks like, Hollywood's on the way up, but then I would say Hollywood has to go because it's past its time, and it's got so bad. It's got so bad now, and the best thing for Hollywood to do would be to, move on and to something new. We need to open the ground up for independent filmmakers and writers and creators, and I think that's going to be the way forward, especially the way technology is now.
Oh yeah.
You can, I mean, that latest indie movie, without going into it too much, I've heard people say that you could have, and this is the thing that Hollywood doesn't want to discuss. You could have literally hired a looky-likey who was athletic and could move like Harrison Ford, and then just deep fake the face.
Yeah.
And it would have been a better movie, and it would have cost hardly anything in comparison. But Hollywood's scared of that being well known because movies are a lot cheaper to make now. And the Hollywood actor is a thing of the past as well now, isn't it?
Well, and I was going to say, like you were bringing up the cost of movies now, everything is, 200, 300 million or more for just, what would have to be an enormous hit in the past, so there's so much money going into them now that, you're right. There's a great market where people who make lower budget good films can really cash in. Whereas,
I've actually said this on another stream. I said I'd rather see $25 million films than $100 million.
yeah, I mean, because $5 million, hey, great, yeah, you turn around, you make 20 million, you look fantastic. Whereas you spend 300 million on it and get 400 million back at the box office and still wind up losing money.
Yeah, definitely. And we missed a couple of references from the driver there because he was saying, "Hey, man, for $20, I'd take you to a KKK meeting," and it's like, whoa, I don't think you would.
Yeah,
I don't think you would. Like, that's just insanity. But here we see that everybody in the neighborhood is like part of the gang. They're all in on it. Yeah, and he's just telling them. He's hitting on in, and it's
follow the cue ball.
Yeah. And it is like he's just inviting himself right into the Viper's den, isn't he? So
well, a British guy in Harlem sort of kind of stands out a little bit.
Yeah, that's what the guy says later, doesn't he? He says like you've used the cunning disguise of a white man in Harlem or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're heading towards a massively radical change in movies very soon because and the fact that certain movies and things have got so bad in certain ways is that we're at the end of an era with traditional movie making.
Well, and like the I've got to say, you have to, when you're going to a movie now and you're forking out as much money as you're for it, all it takes is a couple of rowdy theater goers, and your experience is, or my experience, is ruined. So
yeah,
I know, and you in the past you were used to that. But
yeah,
that was in the days where people would shut up if you told them to shut up, and it's not like that now. Society's changed, and I don't know. The lockdown had a lot to do with that as well.
Yeah, well, and it's one thing if you're going into a movie and the entire audience is rowdy and everybody's having fun, but it's like, yeah, you're right. Society's changed. It's just different. It's like you have somebody that's just being obnoxious versus somebody that's enjoying the movie. Enjoying the movie is one thing. Everybody gets into that, but
So here we're at. What are we at now, timestamp wise? So we're coming up to 24 and a half.
Yep, 24 and a half.
So he's gone into the restaurant. He's the switcheroo's happened, and he was sitting at the table by the wall, and now he finds himself in the back room where all the gangsters are.
I love this bit.
He takes his gun. Now, if you look at the gun, you can actually see how it's being prepared by the props team. See they've painted over it, but can you see the mark?
Yeah.
Where there's two different metals. It's obvious that that's the real metal, and then I saw that straight away.
I don't care. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, and that's his villain technique with these pincers.
He actually got to pick the weapon of his choice. He picked the actual the claw.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, Julius was. Yeah, they asked him. He said, "What sort of weapon do you want?" We got knives, we got guns, and he just said, "Claw would be really cool."
Yeah.
Because later on we have other villains like Jaws, who has metal teeth and bite through things. This is the first time that Bond's character meets Solitaire, which for most people these days, our age, is a well-known Windows card game.
Yeah.
It goes all the way back to Windows XP. But in this movie, it's
Tarot. Yeah.
Before you're mentioning Goldfinger, how it's always on the move, and that one of the other comparisons I like about it is the villains. Both of them have no time for Bond at all.
Yes, in both cases.
In both cases, it's like one is strapped to a table and has a laser cut. Going to cut in half. It's just like
Mr. Bond
names are for tombstones. Waste him.
And it's so savage, that isn't it? Because he's obviously at this, without spoiling for anybody, Mr. Big He does. It is well played, Mr. Big. That's what gangsters are like. They don't waste words.
There's no time now.
Oh
They're
yeah.
just that is quite realistic in as much as they're just savage. I'll just get rid of them, waste them.
There's none of this sort of, we're going to put you in a death trap sort of thing. It's like, no,
Yeah,
wait.
I will
Oof.
put you in an elaborate machine and monologue until you're
Oh.
able to escape.
He's just stepped into the Bronx. He's
Yeah,
walked into a Charles Bronson
this
movie. Good
this
grief.
is Charles Bronson / French Connection / anything else from the early 70s. I love
Yeah.
that the way he uses the fire escape. And this is where the guy comes along and says he used the cunning disguise of being a honky in Harlem. Honk is on his way. So this area of Harlem is probably all gentrified now, isn't it? Or was at one point, maybe.
Probably.
It's all breeze blocked up windows from old warehouses.
It's no longer like the beginning of the Equalizer.
No, it isn't. And Mark says, "Love the shot of Jane Seymour. Did you mess with her? Yes, shaken. Yes, shaken but not stirred. Indeed. That later on in the movie, did you mess with her? Because obviously her powers are specific to. Obviously, if she sleeps with anybody, she loses her powers. So that was the big concern.
She have
That
to
was a
say
big concern.
She have to say giggity 4 times to get them back.
That's the thing. Yeah. If only it was that easy. So here we're what are we now? 28 and a half. And there's the joke about the lighter, a genuine Felix lighter, because he's talking through it. Cigarette lighters that you don't get in cars now.
No. Actually, you don't get ashtrays anymore either.
No. Sign of the times.
Yeah. And then there's the Star Trek inspired makeup.
Yeah. So this is Tony's got a model of this, haven't you, Tony? Have you got a picture of your model of this?
I got two. Both of them were from Live and Let Die. Actually,
are you able to share? I tell you what. Are you okay if I copy that from the Discord and share this on the stream, the image, or?
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah. It'll be easier to do that than me to move them from a top shelf.
Yeah, definitely. Just see if I can get the image of it. Have you got one of Teehee as well with the claw hand?
No, they used to do one back in the day. I had one. Oh God, about 15 years ago, but they weren't as good.
Mm-hmm. It's a really good model. Who did what company did them?
They're called Big Chief.
Mm-hmm.
They did a whole bunch of. They did like Oddball and 2 different Connery ones as well.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can get that up on the screen. Here we go. There's Tony's models. They're really good quality.
Oh, they're exceptional. They come multiple.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. I just love the Baron Samedi and.
Yeah, really good. Nice cases as well.
Mm.
Are they modular cases?
Sorry?
Are they modular cases?
I don't know. The top slider.
So where are we now? So basically, we're at the point where the next location for Bond after he's got out of New York is to pursue Kananga back to the fictional island of San Monique, and the room's already been booked by somebody called Mrs. Bond. So who is that, and what's going on? So he's just searching the room for bugs now, and he's got his gadgets, a few little gadgets. We said there's only really the watch, I suppose. Yeah, the watch and the bug finder, which he's got here. And the size of these bugs, they're huge. I imagine by 1973 they would have been smaller than this. But it is Bond, but like the size of a button. I'm sure they would have been able to make bugs smaller than that by that time. But there you go.
Yeah.
It's just for the audience, really, isn't it? Room service, please.
It's almost like that scene from Kentucky Fried Movie where they got the guy at the boom mic as the bug.
Yeah, it's huge. Sean Connery turned down the role for this, $5.5 million at the time, which today is like 35, 40, like between 35 and 40 million
Well,
dollars.
he got $1 million to do Diamonds Are Forever.
Yeah, they even offered Clint Eastwood the role, yeah, because he'd had Dirty Harry, but so they even offered a non-Brit the acting role to do James Bond, but Clint Eastwood was flattered, but he declined it because he agreed the same thing. It should be portrayed by an English actor.
Yeah, you gotta completely agree there. Even it just it would take the immersion out for a lot of people.
Yeah, this movie as well has got a lot of animals in it. So it's there's a crocodile wrangler and stuntman who was actually called Ross Kananga because the villain in the movie was named after the crocodile wrangler who worked on the movie. In case you didn't
I
know,
love the I love
that's
the sign at his farm where it says trespassers will be eaten.
yeah. So, but not only do you have the crocodile wrangler, but they had to have snake handlers as well. So there's a lot of animals and dangerous animals in this movie. And this is Whisper, who you saw at the start of the movie,
Yep.
using the dart gun out of the side mirror. And obviously so-called Whisper because he can only whisper. Whisper is also a delicious chocolate bar if you're British. But in this movie, he's not quite a villain, is he? Because he just whispers and does odd jobs, but he doesn't have a flying hat.
Random task.
Random,
Random
just
task.
random
Yes.
task, yeah. And he still hasn't noticed the snake. I don't know what kind of snake that is. It's probably something unique to like more tropical climes. I'm not really familiar with snakes, but
Yeah. Don't know myself.
it's probably some sort of adder. It looks like.
Two snakes together, better as one.
Sees it in the shaving mirror, and he turns around to. I like the shot where it's like almost at his feet, because you wouldn't make any sudden moves, but there you go. Roger Moore lighting the aerosol,
Saved
not
by
not this,
Aquanet.
Just throwing
that's it.
it up.
Yeah, for a change, not at a teenage party, but to destroy a snake.
There goes his security bond.
Got such a dad joke I'm fighting down right now.
Go on then.
Security Bond's his cousin.
Hey, and look at this now. He's just burnt her hand with a cigar, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. She would have a massive burn on her hand. You can seriously hurt somebody if you stub a cigar out on them. Well, maybe, but it worked anyway. So this is Rosie Corbett. So she is the CIA agent who was at this point, without spoiling it, she's supposed to have been placed there to help him, placed there by Felix to help him. Sorry, and oh yeah, you can use a grape to to stop a bug working. And so he assumes that she's CIA, and she says she's CIA. So we find out a little bit more anyway later on. Roger Moore was hitting the sweet spot on this movie for Bonds because he was 45, and the role usually goes to somebody in their 40s, doesn't it? The male characters in their 40s and the females are all like 20 years younger in their 20s. That's the
Yeah.
traditional difference. I don't know how old was Sean Connery when he did the first Bond movie. I think he might have been younger than that, maybe in his 30s.
Let's take a look. I do not know.
Okay.
So
A mongoose. Nice.
yeah, don't go in there without a mongoose.
Here's 31 in Doctor
31.
No.
There you
Yeah.
go. So he was a young Bond, Sean. But after that, there was a series of Bonds who, although the argument is, what's the right age to play a Bond? Because Timothy Dalton was a young Bond, and it didn't quite work. I think.
No, I mean,
Timothy
sorry. Go ahead.
Dalton. Timothy Dalton was approached for way back. He was approached around this time, but he said he was way too young to do it.
That was it. I can't remember how old he was when he played Bond, though.
Yeah. See, I know for us in the States, the big thing was Pierce Brosnan was doing the TV show Remington Steele.
Yeah, he was so
And
famous for that.
and he was going, or the rumor was that he was going to take over after Moore, but he couldn't get out of his TV contract, so Dalton took over, and that kind of soured a lot of us in the States because he was so popular from the TV show.
Yeah. Got another comment from Cosmetics joined the chat. Bond. Hello, bonjour, Cosmetics, bonjour.
Howdy.
Howdy there. Dr. No, 1963.
He was 41. No, Dalton was 41 when he did the License to Kill. Not License to Kill. Living Daylights.
Yeah.
40's a good age because it's a decent. You've actually done stuff.
Yeah, I think that's about right then, because I would say that's about the best age range really that people usually expect to see it. Mark's asking about Dr. No. Dr. No was, I think it was 63 in the States, but it was 62 and it was 62 in the UK though. It came out the October beforehand.
Okay.
In the UK, so it was.
Oh yeah, just getting back to something.
Yeah.
The TV series actually screwed Brosnan because he was free of his contract because the show was cancelled, and then they heard about the Bond thing, and then they picked it up for another half season.
Oh yes, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that screwed Brosnan for License to Kill. No, Living Daylight. I'm saying
yeah. And then it wound up getting canceled again not too long after
that.
that.
It lasted half the season. Yeah.
No. And Mark saying, yep, Sean Connery was 31 in 1963. So yeah, he was a very young Bond when he started. So we've seen the scene where Bond's been tipped off, so to speak. He's received a card, a tarot card, and we'll learn more about that in a moment because there wasn't any message with it. But
I love this character is the son of Quarrel from Doctor
No. I was about to say because it harks back all the way, doesn't it? Because I think one of the things they wanted to do was, okay, this is a new Bond, but we're trying to cement him into the whole tradition of it because, obviously release date for Doctor No was 63. So by this stage, Bond was an established character for 10 years on the big screen. So there was already a huge, it was so well established that they wanted to make sure that people accepted Roger Moore as a new Bond. So they brought in
that secret panel.
Brought in other characters to try and hark back to the earlier movies. So and this is where she gets it completely wrong. Stop right there. And is she? Is she the first black Bond girl?
I believe so.
Yeah.
She's stunning.
No, she can't be because there was the Diamonds Are Forever. Well, no. What would you classify? What would you classify as a Bond girl? Is it somebody who's his
it's honestly really any
companion
female.
or any female? It doesn't have to be a companion.
They don't have to sleep with him.
No, it just have to be in the movie, really, don't it?
Judi Dench is a Bond girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, Thumper and Bambi or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Diamonds Are
I keep
Forever.
forgetting. I'm not, as I said before we started, I'm not a fan of Diamonds Are Forever, so I watch it the
Oh.
least.
But let's have a look. So yeah, so now we're at, where are we now? We're already at like 41, almost 42 minutes in.
41 and 50 seconds.
And so what's happening now is that Bond needs to get more information about what's happening here. So he's met Mr. Big in New York. He knows something's going on with there's a connection to Kananga, and who was already under investigation by the CIA. So he's going to investigate him at his location on San Monique to find out more.
It's just every time you say, "Oh, he met Mr. Big in New York," and I keep thinking of the band from the '90s.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, I don't remember it. They may have gotten their name from that. All I know is every time you say Kananga, I think of Katanga from the Mystery Science Theater 3000 revival.
Yeah.
Yes, and the other thing is, I love the way that Roger Moore's Bond smokes cigars instead of cigarettes. There's a bit where he's just hanging around on a hang glider 100 feet in the air, just smoking a cigar 100 feet up in the air. Great.
They did lots of things to try to separate him from Connery. Like he asked for a bourbon and water instead of a martini, and he smokes cigars and stuff. It's like, and then I just went, screw it. It is the same character. Stop messing with it.
Yeah. I didn't know what knew quite what to do at some points, but it still flows well.
It does.
And unfortunately, Tony, they were Mr. Big was not named after this character. They were named after. Named. Their name is a nod to the song by Free.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So there you go. So Mark says the tarot card was meant to be lovers. The black Bond girl was named Midnight. Yes.
Ooh, okay.
Good point.
Dang.
Good point, Mark. Good point.
Good mind.
And thanks, guys. Enjoy listening. Well, thank you very much for joining, Mark. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with us. Really appreciate it. And Cosmetti says, that's how you smoke a cigar. It is indeed.
There you go.
Now, with, so that point about trying to make it different. Did anybody notice the back of the cards of 007 on them? It's quite obvious, isn't it?
Oh, no, I did not.
On the back of the cards on the deck, it's 007.
He's not exactly discreet, you know. He uses his name everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the most obvious secret agent. Everywhere he goes, he's James Bond. Anyway, so now we find out that this actually means the Queen of Cups in an upside down position means a deceitful woman. So someone's tipped him off that this woman is a double agent or is betraying him in some way. And it turns out she's also on the payroll of Kananga.
Fortunately, he used the Encyclopedia Britannica to educate himself on tarot.
Yes, he does seem to have an extensive knowledge of tarot from nowhere whatsoever.
Exactly. You know, I find most British people are experts in it. Surprised you're not, though.
Interesting that because of apartheid in South Africa at this time, when the movie was released in South Africa, all of the love scenes between Bond and Gloria Hendry were removed.
Oh.
So all of these scenes where he's with her were removed because they didn't want to see black and white people being romantic together. They removed them because of apartheid.
Coconut Killer.
By the way, Jeffrey Holdow plays Baron Samedi. Hated snakes.
Oh yeah, there's a scene at the end that
they wanted him to hold the snakes and everything, and he did not want to do it, and he had to fall. Well, we won't say that, but there's a scene where he falls into something, isn't there?
Yeah,
and he was obligated.
He did it for a very, very specific reason.
Yeah,
Good grief. We just jumped into the Phantom Menace. What's going on here?
Yeah, I know. Well, interesting you say that, because I mean, are you saying George Lucas rips off ideas from other films?
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Well, I went back in time and I gave them this idea, the script idea. You know, I remember talking to Broccoli at the time. I was only in like, I was a kid, but Broccoli and me were best friends.
We were tight, very tight.
Yeah.
He's flying a kite.
This is it. This is the bit where he's smoking a cigar at 100 feet up in the air.
There you go.
That is the best way to do it. I just love that. It's just this establishes Roger Moore as just cool. It's just he's just hanging out there, smoking a cigar,
all good,
waiting for the optimal time to detach, because he was well into all of this OTT stuff. Yeah, I like the way the cape and hat detach. And
it's like Cerebro or something.
An interesting hairstyle as well.
Yeah.
And she must be a Harry Potter fan because she's got a snake on her forehead.
It's just the Sorting Hat third and Slytherin. She's been turned emo at that point.
By the way, Yaphet Kotto was only 33 in this movie.
People look older.
Yeah, so he was the youngest ever Bond villain. How old was Jane Seymour in this movie? Oh my goodness! Actually, it's talking about like, I think we mentioned. Did we mention, like, age and health and things? Well, Roger Moore was actually hospitalized with kidney stones.
Yeah.
Early in the production. And Jane Seymour had a case of dysentery, and they were shooting on location in Jamaica. This bit here, where he knocks him over, is so funny. It's like as if you couldn't hear that. I mean, I know he's in a glider, but it's like he never looks round for like 5 minutes because it would take about 2 minutes for him to come down and hit him.
Yes,
I love this bit as well. Gets changed out of his black suit into a white suit.
She was 22.
Now that is young.
Oh, I mean, she's 72 now. I could have done the easy math, but yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. He changes from black suit to white suit. Actually, there is a lot of like subtle black and white imagery going on throughout this movie, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
And I think that's sort of, it's the dualism thing, because obviously you've got Baron Samedi with a black and white face. You've got him changing from a black suit into a white suit. So there is quite a theme there going on in the background. And this is where he manages to seduce her finally. And he cheats, though, doesn't he? He cheats.
Stacks the deck in his favor.
You cheat, Dr. Moore, you cheat.
Dr. Jones.
Oh, out comes the subtle saxophone. See, this is the 70s.
I mean, she's 22. And this is it. This is the exact age for Bond characters and the leading woman. The guy to be in his 40s, the romantic interest to be in their 20s. This is the pattern that they repeated for all the other Bond movies. And now he romances her, and no, I can't do it, but it's the cards. It's the cards.
There are times where that just does not work.
Do you know, if she ever found out that he stacked the deck, she'd be really pissed.
Wow.
Well, he sort of kind of left a little bit of evidence there, but as we pointed out, he's not exactly discreet.
No, well, he's just a seducer, isn't he? Amongst other things, to get where he wants to go. He says, because this is a big part of being a secret agent. Is
he's a government-sanctioned assassin.
exactly.
Yeah.
He's not a nice guy. And now she's like, oh, what's happened? Well, certainly we know that if she was keeping herself, well, we certainly know that Bond has, how shall we say this? Bond has been there first, shall we say? Um, Now, apparently Roger
001.
Moore, yep, that was the 001. Roger Moore actually said that this was his second favorite Bond movie. His first favorite, most favorite of all, was The Spy Who Loved Me in 1977.
Nice.
Ooh.
Also, according to Moore, he said that Yaphet Kotto was difficult to work with. However, Kotto denied this,
Well, of
maintained that they may
course.
have been quietly courteous to everyone in the movie. I'm not sure. I don't know what his reputation was really. Interestingly, who said License to Kill has the same character playing Felix Leiter? License to Kill is also the only other Bond movie, I believe, to be set in a fictional country.
Yes. Yeah. The I can't remember what it's called now.
But just a little bit of a connection there between the two movies again.
And also had the son of the his contact from Russia with Love.
Mhm.
As El Presidente.
The screenwriter for this movie, Tom Mankiewicz,
Yep.
actually dabbled in the whole tarot thing in order to get himself familiar with the artwork. They actually took people to tarot readings as guests. One of the parties I went to, Michael Caine was there, and the girlfriend he had at the time, and they used tarot cards to predict that the two would be married. The two married. Mankiewicz said in his autobiography that for the years afterwards, Michael's wife, Shakira Caine, was convinced he had special powers.
Also, some of the predictions were really, really amazing. Like they predicted that Roger Moore would become a philanthropist, and he ended up
Yeah,
joining UNICEF.
yeah.
And they predicted that Jane Seymour was going to be married 3 times, and she's just been married the first time.
Good
She
God.
ended up married 4 times.
Shit. Dear me.
And that's right. And I think they predicted, yeah, Connor. That's right. Roger Moore was going to be a father, and his wife got pregnant when they were filming this film.
His wife was on set as well, you know,
Yeah,
and she was actually there
he
in the
he
first.
made a joke about it, going, "I don't know if the tarot guy had anything to do with that."
Well, that opening scene with the Italian spy
Mm,
played by Madeline Smith, who Madeline Smith is very well endowed, shall we say?
yeah,
She's got a lot of talent.
huge
His
tracts of
wife,
land.
yeah, huge tracts of land, and his wife was there for the filming of that scene, and she was like really watching them both like a hawk the whole time. And it was partly difficult to get the scene done because she was like watching them the whole time. Um, Apparently, Desmond Llewellyn, one of the reasons he didn't appear on in this movie was he was doing a TV show called Follyfoot. So, don't know. Just shows he wasn't really bothered about being in a Bond movie. He didn't really care.
There's
Um,
no need for him. So,
yeah. There he is, Baron Samedi.
have a 7-Up.
Was he a dancer then?
He had a fascinating career. Like he hang on, let me just verify that.
I like his electric radio flute. By the way, they're on the way. They're heading for the hill.
Like he was a costume designer as well.
Mm.
He won an award for it for The Wiz.
I think the reason they didn't this is filmed in Jamaica, but the reason they didn't call it Jamaica is because Jamaica had already been used in Doctor No. So again,
Yeah.
they're using this kind of a setting to invoke familiar. So member berries aren't a new thing. This is a 1973 movie using member berries to evoke a reaction from the audience and say, "Hey, look, new Bond, but same old Bond, really."
Yeah, but I think in this case it's a smart thing. It's just reinforcing. Yes, this is Bond. This is Bond.
Yeah, but it's interesting how because obviously everybody, like Tony was saying, is familiar with the Saint, and they told him you can't raise your eyebrows because that's what you do as the Saint. They told him you can't do it, but of course, after this movie, he did it all the time.
Oh
And
yeah.
he has the as that are these poppy fields?
Yeah.
And obviously they're disguised with netting. And here comes the helicopter to shoot them. Of course, the bullets don't touch you if the helicopter can't see you. Apparently,
That
That,
is a well-known defense.
that's physics. That's proven.
yeah.
Yeah,
You have to be
exactly.
able to see the thing you're shooting
That's
at
science.
for it to hit you.
If you can't see them, you can't shoot them.
There you go. So as long as you make yourself invisible somehow,
Yeah.
you'll never get hit.
And if you can't see them, they can't shoot you either.
I'm personally, I'm interested to see where the gun was on that helicopter, but that's
yes,
just me.
it didn't even show you, did it? That was interesting. Yeah.
No, I don't want your fruit.
She literally he just goes, no, it's all.
I don't want that.
Yeah, hard
Get
pass.
lost. I don't want your mystery fruit. So this is this scene in Jamaica. See, if the police force are all in on it and everything, why don't they just bloody arrest him straight away?
Yeah.
We'll wait for him to get into the double-decker bus. By the way, sorry, go ahead,
I
Val.
was going to say, because then the movie would have been 15 minutes long.
Yeah, that's it. But no, I mean, they capture him about 3 times in this movie, and he gets away every time. Because it literally is, they run away, they get caught, they run away, they get caught. But it's still a decent movie. But I'm trying to think. The bus driver for this was the stunt bus driver was actually a London bus driver, wasn't he?
Yeah. Because there's all the fears that it's going to tip, but they're designed not to tip. So every stunt they did in this was legit.
Maurice Patchett.
The road is
back in the day where you had to be a really good driver to drive a bus and go through a rigorous training program. Yeah, because that stunt where he swerves on the wet ground is amazing. Sorry, Ralph, go ahead.
I was going to say that. Yeah, those buses look so incredibly,
They're weighted at the bottom. There's 2 things at the bottom of the bus.
They're designed not to flip. Like, yeah, it's just
look at that. That's a brilliant stunt. That is one hell of a stunt there.
Oh yeah,
and that's a hell of a stunt as well, with that bike going over into the water.
Not as good as Mad Max 2, but
yeah, true.
Yeah,
maybe
that one's hard to top.
Maybe this is an inspiration for Mad Max 2, the Riot Warrior.
Right. Let's see if we can kill the stuntman. And Jane Seymour is in that bus the entire time too.
Yeah, I love the way that's she's got her head out the window with her hair in the wind, and that's so cute.
It's like, yeah, they didn't need her to be, but she was in it.
She's professional. See, she's not scared of it. Yeah, so.
Well, as I said, you need to see more.
Yes, and I don't think there's many stunts with buses, but there's another stunt coming up. I don't know how they did this one, where the top comes off it, but it was so well done. Because
I think they might have cut the top a bit.
Yeah, they has to have prepared it somewhere, because that could have gone horribly wrong.
Because it would have just ran. You just got. It's been prepped. I love that.
Brilliant stunt, and then the car goes into the remaining thing. I mean, that is this kind of movie Blues Brothers, Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah.
They all
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
meld. They meld in your mind, don't they? All of these things, because they all
Yeah,
tapped
the
into the
regular
same
plot.
sort of. And that's what I'm saying. The comedy is so good in this movie. The action comedy. It's
Oh
it's
yeah.
just a really there brilliant scene now. Where they're looking at the back of the bus. It's just such a well-made action comedy
Mother of
sequences.
pearl.
Yeah. I mean, what it lacks in sort of like the more sort of meaty storyline and the higher stakes, it makes up for in just pure entertainment
Yeah,
value.
that just reminded me. I was wondering why my figure came with a machete. I was
Mhm.
like, I don't remember him using a machete at the end, but yeah, they uses it there.
I'm going to stick another track on.
Another track,
Another
huge track of land,
Huge tracts. She has huge tracts of land.
huge tracks of land.
Let's get the volume right though. I don't want it to.
Oh, Oklahoma.
There we go. That's not right for this part of the movie. Let's put this on. Or maybe not.
No,
Nah, doesn't work either, does it?
no.
No.
It's a nice try, though.
Yeah, let's stop that.
Oop, sharks.
There you are, sharks.
Some
And
that's a little bit of foreboding for Felix Leiter.
there you go. That works for this part of the movie. And of course, we're now getting away. We've managed to escape. I love the bit as well. I missed it earlier, but where they're about to escape, and then she says, "Well, can we have another quickie before we go?" Just in bed together. And he's saying, like, "Right, we need to go. We need to escape. Then get away. Yeah, but can we have another quickie one before we go, please? Go. Okay, then. Another bit of slap and tickle before we
If you
go.
insist.
If you insist."
Ugh.
There's loads of one-liners in here that I've missed through, but it just sets it up, isn't it? Already you've got the one-liners like all the other Bond movies.
So
And oh, look, it's the same cab driver.
Same cab driver from New York.
He's managed to get to New Orleans. They've bussed him down to New Orleans. And I don't understand this bit of the movie. It's like they've escaped, but they decide to go to New Orleans to draw him out. To draw Kananga out. It's like, well, why? It doesn't really make much sense. Yeah. So this is a bit of a. I'm not too sure why the plot goes in this direction, but it moves the plot along to the point that they they then get captured again. And another stunt scene coming up, this time with a plane.
Ooh.
And his henchman again here. And you made a big mistake back in that island, Bond. You took something that didn't belong to you. I took it from a friend of Mr. Biggs. By the way, shall I spoil things already? But Mr. Biggs' makeup doesn't look that great, does it really? And here's another sort of. I'm just trying to think now that all of Jane Seymour's hairstyles in this movie were copied for Princess Leia and Princess Amidala.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oops,
So
there
he
we
gets
go.
away.
Oh, yeah.
Convenient.
This is great. Yes, bit. And this is fantastic. This is Ruth Kemp playing Mrs. Bell, a student pilot who gets caught up in the escape for Bleeker's flying school. What's on for today? Let's just wing it, shall we, Mrs. Bell? Wah, wah. Hang on, I've got a badoom somewhere. There we go. There we go. Let's turn that out a bit. Is it gonna work?
There you go.
There you go. Now we should have a badum button for every time you get a one-liner, but I'm not that good at spotting.
you just have nothing but snare drums.
You would literally the entire commentary would just be snare drums. I love the way that all
You're
these
ever
planes
living.
just get mashed up. I mean, I'm assuming these are kits; they're not real planes because they're just smashing them all up.
What's
There's
this?
another one gone.
Ooh,
That looked like a real plane. Oh, do you know what it
yeah,
is though? That's probably going to be scrapped. Is that a
Yeah.
DC? That one?
yeah, big DC-3.
Yeah, that's probably going to go off to scrap anyway. And yeah, and then she says, "Oh, holy shit!" That's the way she said it
I
as
love when
well.
old people swear.
Yeah, but yeah, she's
Shit.
Yeah,
this is
Yeah,
it's like
you're gonna get
nothing
me
left of
for the
this.
propeller.
Get out of the way of the propeller. There's a lot of swearing in this movie, but it's subtly done. It's either dubbed over or you dub over the second part of it, or it's completely silent, but you can
It's
see the
just cut
mouth
off.
moving.
Yeah.
At same time tonight, tomorrow, Mrs. Bell. So timestamp wise, we're 1 hour 7 minutes in. I mean, these movies, they're all around 2 hours long, which is, you get settled in, you just enjoy the whole experience. But it's perfectly timed because they don't at any point get sluggish. They're constantly
no,
moving on.
yeah, it's just moving. Yeah, exactly. From scene to scene, move
Yeah.
along.
I mean, we're over halfway through the movie, and there's still a lot more content to watch. There's still a lot more going on, and it doesn't seem tiresome at all. There's always something to keep your attention. So this is the same setup again. We're back in New Orleans, and this time it's another CIA agent who's going to get the same treatment. You don't even see the fact that he just goes missing, so you know exactly what's happened to him. They've done exactly the same thing again. And I've even been listening on the gifs there. Oh, that's for later on in the movie. That one. So we're seeing again the New Orleans funeral band there, and then we just cut to another scene where Bond arrives and they're moving off. So we know exactly what's happened to that CIA guy. This movie holds the record for the most watched movie to be broadcast on British TV.
Wow.
When it was shown on ITV on January 20th, 1980, it attracted
Oh.
23.5 million viewers. So given the population of the UK in about 1980 was probably around 45 to 50 million, that's like half the country watched the movie. So if that was the United States, I don't know what the population of the United States were in 1980, but today's, I think 360 million in the US right now, isn't it? It's like 180 million people watching the movie. It's a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be quite a show.
By the way, we did only have 3 channels in 1980.
Yeah, yeah.
You had to pay your
And
fees.
I think we did have, we didn't even have Commodore 64s or anything at that stage. I don't believe.
1980, I think it was probably still just a little ahead of that.
Yeah.
Seems like they were 82, 83. Maybe, I may be wrong. Maybe it was 81, 82 was Commodore 64.
That was about the first time I had a friend who had one, was around that time.
So this is I forget the name of the singer here, but this is where they have her singing the theme song for the movie. Originally, I think Broccoli tried to push it that it would be sung by a black woman at the start of the movie as well, but Paul McCartney said, "No, if you want to use this song, me and my band are going to sing this."
Paul McCartney.
It's that or nothing. And so yet again, Bond is the victim of another novelty table. This time he's disappeared into the floor. Leiter comes back and he's gone.
Thanks for dropping in, baby.
And like as if Leiter would just accept the explanation of the guy at the bar.
Oh
No.
yeah.
It's like, you know, he would be like, where the hell's he gone? Um, so again, he's like in front of Mr. Big this time, and yet another subterranean base, which looks very much like the other one. If you're a drugs baron, you know you've got to have secret rooms and
Underground bases.
bases wherever you go. Yeah,
T's got such a great smile though. It's just he looks like he
does.
loves his job.
He's wearing this. He's wearing a like a red blazer there. Like he's. I mean,
Hmm.
you won't be familiar with Butlins, but in Britain we have a holiday camp called Butlins. I suppose in America you have vacation camps and things, but it's a British thing. If anybody
Oh,
British is watching, you'll know what I mean.
yeah. Summer camps in the U.S. would be more like Friday the 13th style
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Of course,
Murder cat.
looking at this set, I see where Doctor Evil got his inspiration.
Yes, definitely. And the chair, the wonderful clasp chair, because Bond didn't see those clasps at all before he sat in that chair. It's,
They're also not all the way around his wrists. He could get his hands out of that really
yeah, he
easily.
could. He
Don't
could
think about
really.
it. It's fine.
Yeah, let's yeah, don't give it too much thought. And this is the reveal where we see, oh my goodness, what are you doing?
He
What,
just pulled
what,
his face
what?
off. This is the
Oh my
original
gosh,
face
the,
off.
It's like Tom
yeah.
Cruise under there.
What's going on? I never
It's
realized
Nicolas
the two were the
Cage.
same person. What's he doing? That wasn't bad makeup whatsoever. The makeup was pretty bad, like. But I suppose at the time it was
That was a
good
good.
enough to make
I thought it was
people,
a decent concept.
yeah, that they were one and the two person. I suppose as well they got the idea from Mission Impossible for that, wasn't it? They're using the mask, but of course in Mission Impossible the masks were perfect, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, for some reason everybody looked like.
Why didn't they just do that then? And rather than put, why didn't they? Because rather than put the makeup on the actor, why didn't they get somebody else to play to do the? Why didn't they just do the Mission Impossible thing where they get a different actor to play Mr. Big and just do the whole switcheroo thing? They takes his mask and goes, "Ha ha, it's me."
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know. Maybe they were going for more realism doing it that way. So now you find out the plan. Sorry, go ahead, Ralph.
Oh, I was going to say maybe it was in Yaphet Kotto's contract. He's like, I want to do both parts.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna swizz me out of it. So this is the plan where he uses his political power to allow, like, and he's going to flood the market with loads of it at free price, at really low prices, so that he can somehow secure the trade in America. It's not really you know, he would face opposition from other drug lords, but the idea is that he's going to be able to flood the market with it and get everybody addicted to his brand of drugs. So
He was
that's
Walter
the
White
basis.
before Walter White.
He was.
And we're going to make it blue.
And oh, interestingly, apparently it was the first time in a Bond series that a rock song was used as the main title song, with Paul McCartney and Wings, because before that it had been sort of more mainstream. How would you call easy listening kind of music? One finger off for every wrong answer. Here's some stakes here. So I get this right, or we'll start chopping his fingers off. Every decent gangster has to have some sort of finger chopping game.
Oh, yeah.
You know. Yeah, Moore was the first one to do the gun barrel sequence without a hat as well. The start of the movie, I've just realized.
I didn't think about that.
So
people weren't wearing a lot of hats around in the 70s. So.
nah, well, I mean, there was loads of hats being worn by like the characters in New York, but
Sure,
you have to be sort of like a pimp or somebody who's like wanting to draw attention to themselves.
Yeah, but traditional style, yeah, hats had moved out by then.
Yeah,
So,
they definitely had.
So Solitaire's playing a game of Magic the Gathering here. It's just pulled out an Aragorn card.
I've been mana screwed.
The first Yu-Gi-Oh game on film.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the concept here is that he's challenging Solitaire to see whether she's still got her ability or talent. I mean, she hasn't, but that was a 50-50. She could have got it wrong. So it's a bit of a weird. It's another bit of a weird moment in the movie because it's purely by chance she got it right because she's apparently lost her ability.
The way Whisper's carrying Bond.
Yeah, I know. And look at the way he's holding himself as well. Oh, and here comes Baron Samedi. Playing it very camp. And yeah, it's a bit weird because she has lost her gift. So that was purely a 50-50 chance she got that right. So it's purely by chance that Bond didn't lose his finger.
The way I look at it is Kananga didn't want it to be true, so that's why he gave her a 50-50.
But she's purely by chance got it right, but he still knows that he's lost.
Yeah, he got it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, did he touch you? And so the only thing he's going to have to do now is get rid of her. Apparently, Ian Fleming, when he wrote the book, based Solitaire's name on the Jamaican solitaire bird, which is the Jamaican rufous-throated solitaire bird. So solitaire. So the game I mean, because we call it patience in the UK.
Yeah.
But the reason it's called solitaire in America, which is based off of maybe Windows called game solitaire. Is that based on this character, or was it just that's what it was called already?
Yeah,
I thought it was because it was a single player game.
Yeah, that's what I've always gone with. It's because it's
a solitary player.
Yeah.
Solitary player, so solitaire.
So maybe that's where the name of this character came from then. And Baron Samedi standing there, and Damballa are both named after two demons in the voodoo religion.
Yes,
that's where the names come from. They're two demons in the voodoo religion.
Bottle of Baron Samedi rum.
And there's that sign there that you like, Tony.
Yeah, Christmas
will be eaten.
That's why they decided to film it here. Because they went, "Oh, that's awesome."
When I was a kid and I watched it, I thought, "Oh shit, he's gonna get eaten by the alligators!" No. And when I watched this again for the prep, I thought, they're not crocodiles, are they?
No, they're alligators.
They're alligators. Crocs are a lot bigger than that. Crocs, I'd be scared of. That's what I'm saying. I'd be shitting my pants if it was Crocs. I'll be out of there. I'll be trying to flap my arms to fly away.
Gators are nothing.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, when I was a kid, I was like, oh no, this is really scary. And then you look at it now, it's like, gotta say, it's like not really, because they're tiny.
They are very tiny.
Yeah, generally, yeah.
That being said, I wouldn't do what Bond did.
Yeah, you don't want to make them mad. They'll hurt you, and they will eat your pet. But they're definitely an annoyance. Although they can clamp onto you and cause you to drown. That's the main danger.
That's why I want to
hear of.
That's so it's similar to the way Crocs do it. Crocs drag you down to the bottom and drown you.
Yeah.
Similar way of dealing with their prey. Yeah, so Jane Seymour actually arrived on set with a note from Richard Attenborough, apparently, who requested sympathetic treatment for his tired old daughter-in-law. She may well need a shoulder to lean on. I don't know whether you knew that, but Jane Seymour was Richard Attenborough's daughter-in-law.
I think I had heard that at one point, and then I'd forgotten. So
Yeah.
you.
It was Roger Moore's idea as well, apparently, for Ross Kananga to wear crocodile shoes for his big stunt. So there you go. Ross Kananga was the
actual stunt man.
The actual stunt man.
Did the one.
Yeah. He was born in Lorain, Ohio. And he was the stunt man for this movie and
They
Devil
also
Rider.
used to have a lion walking around the pram, but the crocs got him.
Get in. Well, the will won't. Little cheeky buggers.
Yeah, lions may be king of the jungle, but they're no good.
Oh, the crocs will nip your heels and grab on. That's it. When they grab on, though, that's it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
As soon as they grab on.
That's all that was.
Hence the term alligator clamps. Yeah, so it is. I mean, I remember this scene and thinking this is. I was actually scared of Teehee more than the crocs, the alligators.
The bit where Teehee has Bond's finger, and I'm like, oh, that's no.
Teehee breaking into the meat at the top there, and then throwing it on the thing. And then, just the way he smiles all the time, but he's got a claw hand.
This guy loves his job.
Yeah, but he's more scary because he's like laughing all the time and thinking, you're a psycho. Man that laughs too much. But there you go. Then they leave him on this little island.
He enjoys his work.
Yes, he's a happy man. He's in the right kind of job for his qualifications. So then these pop up with all the sloshing sounds and everything.
And starts getting the idea he's going to be dinner.
Yeah, they really do have really thin snouts, don't they? Alligators.
Yeah.
Because obviously crocs are just huge, big buggers. But yeah, I wouldn't like to be bitten by an alligator, obviously.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's not going to be a pleasant experience.
No, and plus wherever they bite, you're almost guaranteed
to
get infected. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Especially with that water.
Oh yeah.
So he tries to bring the boat across with his electromagnetic watch. Doesn't work because it's tethered, and so he gives up on that plan.
Hang on.
Apparently, one of the crocodiles was called Old Albert, named him after Albert Broccoli.
Oh, that's what you say. Yeah, that's the one that took Teehee's arm.
Is it? Oh, yeah, of course.
Old Albert.
Yeah, he mentions Old Albert, and that's why I asked the book. Yeah, but it was named after Broccoli.
Yeah, and they are deceptively fast too.
Yeah, aren't they? Because they're like moving slow there. Now here we go. This scene here. Now I have a GIF of this.
So good.
GIF of this.
Did it 5 times.
Yeah, it's 5 times going through that.
They did it 5 times. The first 4 he slipped and fell. But
yeah.
And he said the trouble was that after the first time they all lifted their heads up because they were expecting him to run across.
Yeah, they knew something was coming.
Yeah, because they tied him. They were tied down by their legs, so they couldn't grab him.
That's how they did it.
Yeah. They had 5 crocodile alligators, whatever, tied down by their legs, so they couldn't.
I think I've got a GIF somewhere of him actually. There's a clip of him like falling in, and the alligators are all grabbing his legs.
What are you doing? What are you doing, you crazy human?
I had that GIF lined up, but I don't know where it's gone. It's gone.
Everyone would do that though. They'd be like, "It's not the place is on fire." It's like, Gator in the drug den.
And Look at that, yeah. So sorry.
Now, time for a boat chase. In the script too, it said something like, greatest boat chase ever, and that was all it was written.
Yeah. Watch
And,
this
and they're
movie
like,
because of the boat
how are we
chase.
going to do this greatest boat chase ever?
This has the best boat chase ever.
Hmm.
It's that one there. It won't upload.
I ripped up one of our boats. Move, you mother.
There, move your mothers, and then it just cuts out.
Hmm.
Because when you're a kid, you don't realize what that really means. Because when he says,
I said,
there
shafts
she
of
is,
that mother.
that water
Shut
looks
up.
nasty. It does look nasty, that water. Don't be drinking
Yeah.
that water. This is a beautiful scene here. I mean, if this is Louisiana as well, all of that stuff, it's gorgeous down there. All the rivers, really.
Oh, the bay is beautiful.
So, and
Yeehaw.
so not only car chases and sort of plane escapes, or not escape, but we have the boat chase as well. I love the way that they're able to skim over. I don't know how they did that, but they skim over the.
Oh, they lift
bits of
the engine
island.
up.
Yeah,
If you notice, the engine gets pulled out, so
yeah. So that the blade doesn't get knocked.
There he is.
The spot. There he is. We got
Ben
ourselves a
Hur.
regular Ben Hur. Doing 95 minimum. Nearly help JW? Hell no.
I gotta say that I'm not a fan of chewing tobacco. I think it's disgusting.
But it's like the archetype thing, isn't it?
It is the
Yeah.
archetype, but it's like, oh my god, just his mouth's just full of tobacco.
Yeah, but like I say, that the fact that him and Buford got mixed up in my head as a kid, but they're so similar characters, though. So we are now at 1 hour 28 and a half minutes, and we're at the bit where JW's caught up with us. You got a set of wheels that just don't quit, Ma.
I find it interesting that guy put his weapon away when he saw the cop car. I thought,
Yeah. And they're always overweight, aren't they? I don't know why they're always overweight, these sheriffs.
Well, to be fair,
he's wearing a catcher's padding under his clothing from a baseball catcher.
All right.
Yeah, he's not really that big.
That overweight, and they wanted him
but
to
he
look
said
dodgy.
that the southern gentlemen like that really love the
food. And watch this. Yeah, what is it? Can we? Whoa, lip read there.
Yeah, bad trigger discipline. Come on, Sheriff.
What was the lip reading there?
Yeah, catches.
I'm sure I can lip read what he just said there.
Yeah. He said, "Oh darn."
He said, "What the flippin' heck was that?"
Oh dear.
That is. I mean, that is the best stunt ever. That really.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's an impressive jump.
Andy Carr is wrong.
I mean, that was one of the things that really people remember from this movie. The most terrific boat chase you've ever seen. And the second boat was not scripted to collide with the police car, but after this happened while shooting the stunt, they just left it in.
Oh yeah, it's a great visual.
Looks like a boat stuck. Boy, there's one of them new car boats. Well, the powers vested in me by this parish.
Come in person within. And that means you, smart ass.
Yeah. But we've watched Deliverance as well, haven't we? Even though that's not a comedy movie by any chalk. The DMA, it's a similar character, isn't it? All those Louisiana, Georgia, of that era.
Southern gentleman.
Mm-hmm. and now so because his fuel tank's been shot, the boat's conking out, so he's having to get another one. And this is the one where they invade the guy just sitting there with his tea, his iced tea.
Into the pool.
Into
That's
the
just
pool.
brilliant, that whole scene. Yep. By the pool.
Unfortunately, everybody keeps their keys in their boats, so he can just jump from boat to boat to
Yeah,
boat.
and look at that. And he's straight off again. Another one. Absolutely brilliant. I love
A
that.
better boat. A faster boat.
Yeah. And then what is it? This guy's the sheriff's always got a cousin, haven't they? They've always got a cousin who has
Yeah.
a fast boat.
Everybody's a cousin in the South.
Sheriff Pepper's guy. Huh? Yeah. So it's and it's like the fastest boat on the river.
Siren wailing.
And yeah, I mean Louisiana generally just flat as a fart, the whole state. It
Yeah,
looks like this bit of it is anyway.
yeah. At least the South is. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very flat near the coast,
Yeah.
marshy.
And apparently Roger Moore had played Bond in a play before he played Bond in the movie. It's something called Mainly Millicent. Apparently he'd played Bond in a play before, but obviously never on the big screen. Nah, the bridge scene, bang, straight through. Are they just going straight through the gap?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant that. And of course that's sort of repeated in the next movie, isn't it? The Man with the Golden Gun, where they go over or under a bridge. I can't remember, but he's while he's on holiday. And fast enough because I got it. You call my brother-in-law Billy Bob. Is it Billy? Is his cousin actually called Billy Bob?
Billy Bob, yeah.
Billy Bob, get it.
Billy Bob.
Billy Bob.
State police and sheriffs are two different law enforcement divisions.
I've got to say, this boat is really cool. It's a really nice looking boat. But how does this guy know where to go to get this boat? How does he
Plot
know where to go?
happens.
It's like, how does he know where to go to get this boat? You never look at that boat. That's gorgeous.
I suppose the wildlife, fish and game and that would have boats.
Yeah, they usually have them marked up though.
Yeah.
Yeah, not with big jet engines.
Yeah.
I just wanted those horns on the front to go.
There's a good chance of it.
Ah, damn.
Hot damn, if one side of the family don't get him, the other side will. Let's go.
He actually has no authority to order them around.
No. Dear me.
I always love that.
Yeah, beautiful.
The cinematography is really great, like cameras and that.
So when you think of how difficult movie making was at the time, we take it for granted now. These shots here on the river, and then exactly. I mean that aerial shot of the boats going down the river. I mean, not easy to do.
Well, and plus they're coming through. Everything's glassy smooth. So if you got to go back and take another take, everything's got to die down again.
That is true because Smitty the cop is the ultimate stereotype.
Just a bit.
He is like,
hello, Jordan Bennett.
Hello, Jordan.
Hey, Jordan
Bennett. Absolutely.
I may or may not be related to the cop. Just saying.
And there you go. The wedding cake's gone. Gone. And the bride's distraught, as you would expect. So yeah, and I mean, it has everything really in terms of chases, doesn't it? And you got the cops chasing, then the guy.
Every kind of
I
chase.
love this bit here. The old guy who's delivering the oysters in this car that looks like it's probably like 70 years old. This car, it's like the first ever. It's
First
great.
car.
It's like
Yeah, that
first
thing's
car ever
older than
invented.
dirt. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
older than dirt then.
yeah,
Well, they were made to last.
yeah. Not the cake, says Cosmetic.
Not the cake.
And this is
Oh.
I love this bit where they go across the road.
Hey.
It's amazing, right in front of the cars as well. I mean,
Yeah,
they must have
that's
practiced so many times to get that done right. Bang. Multi-shunt, as it's known on the train.
Everyone's in such a hurry to crash, and then
along
driver
comes the
just rolls
oyster
on
guy. Get out of the road! I'm going to deliver my oysters. Meek honking, it says on the subs here.
Meek honking.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, we have the nearest we have to this is something called the Norfolk Broads, in Norfolk, curiously, in the southeast of the country, where there's a lot of little waterways, where people hire boats and go on holidays, where you stay in the boat and you sleep in the boat, etc.
you would definitely like the Gulf Coast of the U.S. So probably southern Louisiana, southern Alabama, the Panhandle of Florida.
Lovely. Yeah. Messing about in boats. These guys are all magically good at driving boats really fast. Yes.
It's a well-known British fact. All Brits are expert boatsmen.
Well, you have to know something about it when you live on an island, but I don't know.
See?
I do love it. Oh, there we go. Hit him with the petrol. And then he drives right up inside.
Oh yeah, hit the
hits him on
throttle.
Yep. And he's going around the circle. Then he ends up going into the huge boat and up to a ball of flames.
So good.
It's really well done.
Ooh, big boom.
I don't know what kind of boat that is, but that's a beautiful shot. The close up of the explosion was perfect on that, and the way it was done, absolutely perfect.
Fun sport. The original mega.
Yeah, make boating fun sport. 3 miles per hour, please.
Yeah, no wake zone. Yeah, the only ship I've seen with an entryway like that would be like a whaler, but goodness.
Yeah, it does. It does look like that sort of vessel.
Looks like kind of an old whaler boat.
Yeah. Well, in a couple of movies, there'll be submarines getting swallowed by big boats.
Yeah. Hello, Felix. What are you doing here? Well, we'll get to that later. He's got your golden. Yeah. Look, and then he turns up and says that line. There's the son of a bitch. I got him.
Are you some kind of doomsday machine, boy? That kid's drunk enough to hold an animal like you.
And it's explained he's a special agent. Captain, you enlighten us, says Sheriff.
Secret agent. On whose side?
On whose side? So we're now up to, I think my time time's 1 hour, 40 minutes and 10 seconds.
Okay.
About a little bit ahead of us. Well, a little bit ahead of me anyway. So yeah, after the latest round of getting caught and escaping, obviously, as we know, Roger Moore escaped, but Solitaire was taken away at the airport, and now the final scene, we move to the island of San Monique.
San Monique.
Guys, those are not candy canes.
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking what the other guy's doing with the thing there. See, when you're a kid, you don't notice this stuff going on, but the guys are literally gesticulating with the groinal area of the on the post.
Giggity, giggity, giggity,
That's what you
giggity,
call
giggity, giggity.
fetishism, I think.
I think so.
Oh, hang on, because Mitty says,
Ooh.
my husband is from this area on the Gulf Coast of
Oh.
Louisiana. There we go.
Yeah.
Does he chew tobacco? Does he chew on that?
The boats are all perfect, but the cop cars are all wrecked.
The boats look perfect, and the cop cars are all wrecked. Yes.
Yeah,
indeed.
I have to suspend quite a bit of disbelief because I have a feeling those, if those boats were fiberglass, they'd do one.
It'd be knocked.
So,
Absolutely knocked.
But they'd be sinking.
Yeah. That's like a good title for a song, that. The boats all look perfect and the cop cars all wrecked. So, yeah, no comment, says Cosmetti, yeah. So here we are with all the gesticulation going on around the posts, and here's a ceremonial wish-washing of the posts, and it's all very lots of different stages to this. And here comes the very bosomed Seymour with obviously a wonder bra, and look at the way she makes herself like so when she's getting lifted and she goes into like gymnastic pose.
oh, great! They're tying her up for King Kong.
Yeah. And what are you two lads at? I'm at 1:43 and coming up on 20 seconds.
Okay, I'm at 20 seconds now.
Yeah, me too. I'm now at 20.
So is it the guys just took the snake out of the coffin?
Yep.
And it's a particular type of snake, a green and yellow snake. I don't know why. Maybe that's
colorful.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing is the color.
Yeah.
Nature generally bright colors are like, stay away.
That's how it is 9 times out of 10.
See, she just wanted to go to the barbers, that's all, and this ended up happening. Ew. And this is the outfit for the figure that Tony has, this with the pistol pouch and everything.
Yeah,
that goat head. The dude's a furry.
Oh, the guy with the goat head thing. Yeah. What was that movie? Dragnet.
Dragnet.
Yeah.
The Virgin Connie Swain.
Yeah, and right at the end he just says Connie Swain, and it's like dun 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 dun.
Yeah, don't you mean the Virgin Connie Swain?
That's great. That's why. Yeah. He's just about to shoot him, and he has to stop temporarily because here comes.
It's cool seeing Bond with the 44 rather than the Walter.
Again, they're trying to make him look different from Sean Connery.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah. It's funny how they might have tried to go with this. If Clint Eastwood had have accepted the role, that would have been totally different. Because maybe they're thinking about that Dirty Harry kind of edge, but it just wouldn't have worked.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, because Bond, if I'm not mistaken, Bond in the books always used a smaller gun like the Walter.
He did. He used to use Beretta and it jammed on him and he got shot. That's why they gave him the Walter.
Apparently, both Yaphet Kotto and Tommy Lane both passed away in 2021.
Yeah.
Here we go. Brilliant the way he rises up here like this. Oh dear. And this is the only character where they really because of the way he is as a performer. The and that special effect is so well done. I don't know how the hell they did that in the day. You know, with the head where he shoots the head and
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's a
that's a good
robotic.
question.
I don't know how they did that, but it does make it look really weird, which is it does get that effect coming across definitely. Now he's attacking the. See, would Bond do this? Would Bond? Because he's all he has to do to achieve his mission is blow up the fields, the drug fields. Would he bother going back for her? You know,
She
I
is an
always wonder
innocent.
that. Yeah, I mean, obviously for the purposes of the movie, he's rescuing her because he's the hero and she's the damsel in this instance. But I don't know whether a spy would do that in reality.
Probably in the real world, probably not.
No.
But she is an innocent person. So.
Mm. And this time, this is the real guy.
Ah!
Terrible. Hey, and now he has to fight him one-on-one with a machete. Or
Oh, you got the
Yeah,
machete
yeah,
again.
yeah, you should have done the Indiana
I don't
Jones
know
thing and
why.
shot
Yeah, I
him.
don't know why he doesn't just shoot him.
44 beats machete every time.
This is
It
it.
does. It beats it very well.
And there you go. He gets chucked into the coffin with the snakes, and he couldn't stand snakes, but he was obligated to do it.
Oh, he did it for a reason. The Queen actually was visiting.
Really?
Yeah, and he didn't want to just look like just pussy out. So
Ah,
he
see,
he did he said he'd do it.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
they
no,
obviously weren't live. They weren't live. Well, they can't have been poisonous
no, they
snakes.
weren't. I think they weren't poisonous snakes. They were just like
No,
just,
normal ones.
just snakes, just
Mm,
just green tree snakes.
mm.
But yeah,
And
no,
this
he was a
underground base
professional.
here.
He was a consummate professional, and he just went, "Well, the Queen's here. I can't not do it."
Exactly.
So yeah,
And
legend.
he does. He is a hell of a performer. Like,
The thing is,
definitely.
like, I'm not scared of snakes, but I know if I want to jump in a coffin full of them.
No, definitely not. Same, yeah, because it has this underground secret realm, and the guy's a secret drugs dealer baron.
Mm.
Very similar to Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
And he's
Ooh,
dressed
yeah.
in black, just like Bruce Lee was, because
Mm.
Bruce Lee was a bit like Bond when he was undercover investigating underneath the island in the caverns.
And the bad guy had a removable hand, which you could
Yeah,
put weapons
there's a
on
lot of
like Ricky.
similarities. I don't think everybody's ever
Yeah.
touched on this. There's a lot of similarities between this sequence, especially, and the sequences in Enter the Dragon and the concept of there's an island where the guy's making the drugs,
Mm.
and both brought out in the same year, 1973. Um, and of course, we've done Enter the Dragon on this channel already, but yeah, a lot of similarities. I just wonder whether this one was brought out obviously
Few years later.
June, and the Enter the Dragon was released in August.
Oh, was it same
Two
year? Was
two
it
months,
73?
same year. 2 months later, I
That's
just
when
wonder
the
whether
Dragon older.
there's a lot of similarities between the two movies,
Mm.
and I just wonder whether there was any cross pollination or anything leaked from the production teams of either movie. Uh,
It was supposed to again. I was hoping for some cash, but look at it was a gun.
yeah. Yeah, I mean they're all both very much of the era, the 1970s, both movies.
Mm.
And so here we are. We are now at 1 hour 50 minutes, and just over 1 hour 50 minutes. Oh yeah, the shark gun with the compressed gas, and we're about to see the exploding sofa. There you go, fart noises, which is a sort of foreshadowing of something else, without saying too much. Foreshadowing of something else. Um. So at this point we're now at the stage where they've tried to escape again. This time they're in the clutches, you could say, of Kananga again. and we're about the stage where he's explained everything to him already in his plan, his evil plan, but he's now just going to get rid of Bond again, and again he doesn't just shoot him; he decides to tie him up on a
Monologue.
lift. Yeah,
Monologue.
monologuing, ties him up on a lift, and then decides to raise him above the pond or lake where the sharks are going to come and eat him. But the sharks don't have lasers on their heads. They don't have freaking lasers.
Freaking laser beams.
Yeah,
Laser
that's a
beams.
major plot hole there. No
Yeah.
lasers.
No laser beams on sharks' heads. I mean, I would say that they're at this point in Bond. Bond has already created its own cliches within 10 years of it. Because obviously it introduced its own tropes, but by this stage, Bond has become a cliche of itself in a certain, not completely. There's still plenty in the movies, and not that it would have bothered the audiences. I would have analyzed it that much, but I think at this stage we're already getting cliches coming in. But
Yeah,
not
got a
like I say,
monologue. Kill him in the most
yeah,
inefficient way possible. Not
yeah.
hang around to make
I'm
sure
just
he's dead.
I'm just going to make you bleed a little bit here. I'm also going to look away in the opposite direction and not look at what you're doing, Bond, while you release yourself from your ropes with your super duper watch. Oh, and you magnetically attract the gas canister. And I'll just bring in the sharks.
Freaking sharks.
Freaking sharks and lasers.
Freaking
And of course, Whisper can't alert him to the danger because he can only whisper, can't shout.
I do love this. There's no guarantee sharks
He's not
are
the
going to be
first.
attracted, but
Is Whisper sort of like the poor cousin to Oddjob, because Oddjob was a mute, he couldn't speak at all, but he could kill people with a flying hat. And
Yeah, but
of
what did
course,
Whisper
Whisper
get?
can't. Whisper didn't get anything.
Yeah, he's got the shaft on this job.
Just
Yeah,
random,
we'll hire
random,
you, but I don't trust you with any sharp objects.
random
You know,
task. He hit people with his shoe, didn't he?
Yeah,
I'm going to have my new henchman inside voice.
Yeah, yeah,
inside voice. Yeah,
yeah.
there you go.
I've got may I introduce my henchman from the frozen norths of the of Canada, called Incredibly Shy, Socially Awkward. They should have one called Socially Awkward.
Shy Ronnie.
There you go, Shirani.
Shy Ronnie.
And
Use your outside voice. Speak
there
up.
we go. So knife fight, but he doesn't do that well against Bond, does he? It's not
No.
much of a knife
In,
fight.
in, in, in his defense, I mean, Bond should be really good at hand-to-hand combat.
True, yeah, he's just like a politician, isn't he?
Karate chop.
Politician with a. And here we go. I'm going to make you swallow this
Balloon Man.
balloon inflatable thing here. And
Uh,
look what's going to happen. Hang on.
Yeah, get in my belly.
Now, in reality, if this guy blew up, there would be bone,
there would be
muscle,
blood
and blood
everywhere.
everywhere. It would literally
Yeah.
be more horrific than watching The Thing.
Oh yeah, this entire place would be just red.
Just be coated in
It'd be like watching a Sam Raimi movie.
body pate. Human pate, anyone? So there you go. That's the most hilarious thing. I think people did actually laugh at that scene because it is hilarious. Does he quip at the end of that? I missed the quip.
Just
There
trying
was
to
one.
say, take the train, of course.
Train, of course.
And I mean, this was done in From Russia with Love, wasn't it? This is just a copy of From Russia with Love, because the last scene in From Russia with Love, where they're on the train and there's still
No.
a baddie to get.
Oh, that's actually well, they have this a couple of times in movies.
Where
It's
yeah, you
quite
think everybody's
scores on
died.
the same as well.
It's a trope that James Bond has, where you think everybody's gone, but oh no, there's one last baddie coming back, and but yeah, From Russia with Love was quite a good fight scene in that.
Well, that was the Robert Shaw one.
Do you know Robert Shaw's blonde character in that movie? I think was as much of an influence on Craig's Bond as anything else, because I think the because obviously Bonds were always dark haired, and there's more of Robert Shaw's um, villainous, you know, uh, enemy in Craig as much as Bond is. It's definitely an influence there. So here, the we now know who we're dealing with because there's the claw switching off the breakers. Of course, that would electrocute the shit out of him, really,
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
but he's a tough guy. He just walks it off.
Yes.
Yeah. Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah,
Because Matty says, "Why is she tied to a giant candy canes?" Yeah, as I was
Exactly.
saying, in Britain we would say that like barber shops. We all have the
yeah,
putting
the
up on
barbershop pole.
there. Yeah, but candy canes, maybe because she's all sweetness and light.
She is
Ooh,
Um,
it could be.
she's a sweetie. Gross, says Cosmetti. I think that was because of the the exploding
exploding.
manga.
Exploding out.
Explodey, and this is the funniest death scene ever. It is really Explodey Man. Balloon
It's a
pop.
lot funnier than his death scene from Alien, that's for sure.
Yeah, damn right. And here we go. Fight scene with the claw
Tee.
and using the ladder. Always good. Oh no, but because I've got a claw, I can just go through that ladder.
Yeah, I've never
Snippety
been beaten
snippety.
with a ladder before. That's
Uh,
a new one.
and grab the claw this time. Straight through the window. And you get the standard Bonds out the window there. Watch out, dangerous. And then he pulls the sleeve off, and the arm goes all the way up to the shoulder. Who does he remind me of? This guy. He's a bit like who was the guy? Who was the actor in Green Mile?
Oh, shoot. Michael
You know
Clark
who I mean?
Duncan.
Yeah, he looks a little bit like him.
Yeah.
But it's just I'm just both actors do the whole crazy laughing thing quite well. There you go. So he cuts his happens to have a pair of wire cutters there. Cuts his strings, and now he's stuck to the rail on the window, and that's it pretty much. Out you go the window. Bye. The arm's still hanging on there, of course. And that's it. Well, that wasn't very funny. Now what are you doing? Here's the last quip. Last quip of the movie. Just being disarming, darling. And there you go. And this is the only thing that really is supernatural about the film, isn't it? Because we know this guy died, but really he didn't. He's still alive somehow. And that's it.
There you go.
Done. 2 hours. Really quick, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't lag at any time. It goes through really quickly.
Live
Not
and
a,
let die.
yeah, and closes on that great theme song. And
Just with less Axl Rose.
Oh
pretty much.
yeah.
And I think, like I say, there's no huge stakes in the movie.
No,
There's not any like deep
but the thing is,
storyline.
they don't always have to be.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I think Bond, especially towards the Brosnan end, they just kept amping it up, amping it up, amping. It got stupid with we need an invisible car and a nice palace, and let's
And
have a
that was the worst, one of the worst they ever did. That didn't they? The
CGI
icons.
buddy surfing
What
on a
is
tidal wave.
going on here? I know, in a really aged Bond as well. It was really bad, that movie.
They
So bad.
just went a little too over the top, but
It
I
was
like the
even,
smaller story.
yeah.
Well,
But this
and
definitely does it, doesn't it? Sorry, go ahead, Ralph.
I was going to say, when you're trying to up the stakes and top yourself every time, you hit the point where it's like, okay, well, Bond's trying to save the universe.
Well,
That's
the
what
Roger
did with
Roger
Marvel,
Moore
didn't
did
it?
that.
Marvel movies.
Like
Terrible.
Moonraker is ridiculously over the top.
Yeah,
but that's one of my favorites, though. It's so good, though.
But then they followed it up nicely with For Eyes Only, where it was just the most down to earth one. It was brilliant.
Yeah. But to be honest, though, I remember For Eyes Only was the first Bond movie I went to see at the movie theater,
Right.
and I was really bored. I didn't
Mm.
like it. I still don't like it.
Oh wow.
I'm not a fan. Yeah, and I really like Moonraker. So I
My
guess
two least favorite movies of Diamonds Are Forever and Moonraker.
I love Moonraker. I
The only
just
thing
love it.
Moonraker has going for it is has
Moonraker
Bond
was
in it.
just, Moonraker was just, hey, let's we're gonna try and copy Star Wars. This is Bond, but we're gonna try and copy Star Wars.
Yeah.
We're going to take a
And
similar plot to the previous movie and we're going to put it in space.
yeah, exactly. And it's obvious, but I mean, I just don't know. I just really enjoyed it when I was a kid, and it's,
It is good when you're a
you
kid,
know,
but when you get older, you sort of
yeah,
got a
it's
lot
not,
of the problems with it.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's true. The stakes don't have to be high. Um, I think if it's a well-written story, that's the important thing.
Yeah,
But I
Yeah.
think,
exactly.
this the best thing about this movie, first movie ever for Roger Moore, and I think what it does is it just keeps it moving along quickly, and
Well paced, yeah.
yeah, and it really is just an action movie. You could say the whole thing really is just one long chase,
Yeah.
and it's if it never stops. There's always something happening. There's never like a today movies feel like they have to have this resting moment of halfway through the movie or two-thirds of the way through the movie where everything stops and people just have a break and they go, hey, let's just reflect on everything that's happened. And and you get that resting moment, and then you have the final action scene at the end, which is fair enough. But these movies don't have those because they don't need them. And it what it lacks in depth of story, it makes up for in action and comedy. And this is the thing I think which really shines through for Roger Moore's James Bond was always a much more tongue-in-cheek James Bond than Sean Connery's.
Mm.
Yeah, and
I
then
don't,
just a little bit of fun, a few quips here and
yeah,
there. Yeah.
and I don't think they ever went back to that as much. The Bonds that followed. I mean, I think was Roger Moore Bond longer than Sean Connery?
He's been the longest. He was 7 Bond films.
Yeah, and after
I do not count Never Say Never Again.
no, it's a strange one, isn't it? Did you know
Yeah.
that the drawings for He's Mechanical Arms sold for almost £1,300?
Wow.
So there you go.
Hmm.
But yeah, and it's the first Bond movie where one of the villains remains undefeated. So the Baron at the end there on the train has obviously survived the snake pits, riding the
Mm.
train at the end.
Yeah, catching the train.
So that's the first movie where one of the villains is undefeated, survives. Um, but yeah, the pretty much this. I mean, there's far too much trivia to go through. We'll be here all night and we'll go through all the trivia. But overall feelings. First of all, Tony, your overall feelings of the movie.
Look, I love Bond. It's one of my favorite franchises. I mean, I don't like all of them, but I love the franchise. And for a first outing, this one's pretty damn good.
Mhm,
It's great theme music, good villains, all top-notch actors all the way through. Great Bond girl. Theme music's fantastic. It's just, I don't know, it's really good outing for a first actor to play Bond. I think he did a good job. And as I was saying, he's different to Connery. All the Bonds are different.
Yeah.
Like that thing I like about him. It's the like Brosnan's nothing like Timothy Dalton. None of them are like Lazenby. None of them are like Moore. None of them are like. So I like the fact they're all different.
And then there's a tradition of that in Britain where you have these characters played by successive actors who will bring something different to the role.
Yeah,
so
they
you've
always
got
should.
that with you've got that with Bond, you've got that with Doctor Who, and it's these characters that have lasted generations, played by different people. And you're starting to see the same thing because we mentioned other spy movies like Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. You're seeing the same thing happen with American characters like that because originally played by Rick Baldwin.
Yeah, like
And
Baldwin.
I did a video on Jack Ryan as well, exactly the same, talking about this.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But as I said, like Roger Moore was my first Bond. He was Bond when I was a kid, so he is my favorite. I don't think he's the best interpretation of the character from the books, but I don't care. He's my favorite. So
and he is very entertaining and
like I grew up with The Saint as well. My mum used to watch The Saint all the time, so and the Persuaders with him.
I mean, we're talking about getting confused between different characters in these movies of this certain era, and Smokey and the Bandit and the Sheriff and that. But another movie that from that time was Cannonball Run, and of course Roger Moore plays cameos as he never mentions it because they couldn't mention the name. But they do. He's not actually playing Roger Moore, but he's playing a wealthy playboy who thinks pretending to be Roger Moore, and he actually is Roger Moore. It's a great joke.
He's yelling at his mother all the time.
Yeah. What's that, Ralph?
Yeah. What? Oh, I was gonna say. Yeah. What? His name was Seymour, and your name's Seymour. Now I have to kill you, mother.
The best thing about it, though, remember we did that on this channel, and the best thing about it is as well that he always has a different girl with him every scene.
Yes.
Which is a piss take of the fact that like Bond can go through 3 women in one movie, and it's just every single scene he's with a different woman in the car, and it's never explained how that's happened either.
Exactly.
Where did he get that? What happened to the other girl, and how she picked up this other girl? So that was done really well. So I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I mean, Ralph, your overall thoughts on this movie, on reflection?
Just a fun movie, and I'm right along with Tony on everything. It's a great outing, great first outing for Roger Moore as Bond. And I think we kind of touched on how he brought a few other things to the character, to kind of make it his own, and kind of set the trend going forward for as other actors came along when he stepped down. Just fun, action packed, well paced, and it's got like the boat chase alone. That's always something about the Bond movies, is they always have at least one major, big chase or something in there that's just it's a something you expect out of each one. So in this case it's the boat chase. If we ever go and do the man with the golden gun, the car jump, the corkscrew car jump.
Absolutely amazing. That stunt's one of the best ever.
And Sean Connery taking the small jet through the hangar. Just lots of great things. So it's a fun movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they really topped it off with the next movie to come after this, and the 2 movies can be seen like as a duet, can't they? Yeah, back to back.
and I do mention this in the video, because I watched another YouTube channel where they did a retrospective on Man with the Golden Gun.
Mm.
I had no idea there were so many people who disliked it. I was like, what? Really? What's wrong with people? It's got Christopher Lee in it, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I know.
I actually have a replica of the Golden Gun.
Ooh.
Well, in a job I used to work in, somebody rang up and they were called Scaramanga. Whoa, hang on, what? And there's no word of a lie. The lady I spoke to was the daughter of a Mr. Scaramanga, who was one of Fleming's acquaintances.
Oh, okay.
So the name Scaramanga comes from one of his
One of his
acquaintances.
friends.
Yeah. I thought, wow, didn't realize that. So so like all good writers, he'll use ideas and names from real life.
Oh, like James
Yeah.
Bond was the name of an ornithologist that he just
Yeah.
went, that's a good name. It's a simple name. It's an
Simple name,
average.
nice, average name that would go unnoticed. Of course, when he walks in the room, he's like, oh yeah, if he's Sean Connery or he's raising his eyebrows, if he's
Sure. Sometimes you've got to give him a bit of a slap.
If they ever made like a Bond hybrid, it maybe they'd raise their eyebrows.
Oh my
gosh. But no, I think that's what Daniel Craig did. I think he studied all of the previous Bonds, didn't he? Before he
took a bit of everything.
Yeah, he took a bit of all of them. But yeah, my overall feeling on the whole movie is that it's not. I mean, there's other movies as well, which like Octopussy has a decent enough stake where it's about nicking a nuclear bomb.
They're gonna set off a nuke on a NATO base.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty big stuff. But as a movie, it's quite. I don't know. It's harking back to things like Thunderball, but it's
still entertaining.
It's entertaining, but it shows you the stakes are bigger, but there's not as much heart in it. I think with this one, well, it's on my own personal opinion anyway.
No, that's fine.
I do enjoy it, but I think that there was a couple of things that could have done differently with it.
I have the same with elements of View to a Kill. We're gonna take out Silicon Valley. Okay, fine, but there's elements of it where I'm like, it's not particularly exciting, even though it's got Christopher Walken is in it. But I still enjoy watching it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think this one, like I say, it's not.
It's really old. Moore was really
old. And on this one, it's like I said, like you both said, for a first outing for Roger Moore as James Bond, it's a great first outing, and like I say, it's not massive stakes, but what it lacks in massive stakes, it makes up for in the fact that you have a very exciting movie where the pace is constantly fast, and it's just a romp. It's an entertaining thriller, comedy, action movie in the best tradition of Bond without it becoming too serious. It's not that tongue in cheek, but it's just a fun movie.
They don't need to be dark.
No,
right?
They really don't. I mean, I don't know. Look, I do like the Craig ones, and it is very evident though with the Craig ones that someone went, we need to make them more like the Jason.
Make gritty like Jason Bourne or like
they need to be like the Bourne Identity. It's like the Bourne Identity was a gritty story already. Before even like I'm not talking about the 80s when they did the original miniseries with oh god, what's his name? Richard Chamberlain. And it's like it's a gritty story. It's he's after Carlos the Jackal. It's a full on story, but it's like you don't have to make it more gritty. So much grit that you're going to be squinting from all the grit that's in your eyes. It's I don't need that with Bond. Bond doesn't need to be that. I mean, he's already, as I said, he's a government sanctioned assassin. That's gritty enough.
Yes, License to Kill.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going straight for your heart. Got a license to kill.
And maybe it's just it's a thing where they, Bond had started to drop off
Uh,
through the '90s, and
Probably.
and I think they said, okay, we need to change things, we need to update, but they
uh,
updated the wrong things. So
I had no problem with them reclocking it and going, we're going with it. And I'm like, fine, there's 20 movies, you can go with a new direction. Like, I was okay with that. But the thing is, within those 5 films, those 5 films got really tiresome. Like, and this is my personal opinion, I think Spectre is a terrible movie. I was just bored by that. And I
it
was like,
was, yeah, it was a very
oh,
big.
and this is spoilers for those
Project.
who haven't watched these movies, but it's like,
Yeah.
let's make Blofeld his brother. I was like, seriously?
Mhm.
It's like,
oh
yeah, it's
yeah,
his stepbrother. I'm like, oh, come on, this isn't a soap opera.
Did you? But I mean, going back to this movie, the one thing I like about it is a bit like the Blues Brothers, which came a few years later. It's this idea of let's just have car chases and cars hitting
It's
each
a
other and
fun car chase and trash a bunch
fif-
of stuff.
54 cars were destroyed
Yeah,
in this movie,
yeah.
and
some good property damage.
I am thankful though that there was meant to be a speedboat chase sequence where they would weave through a water skiing display team. I'm glad they didn't do that because that could have
Yeah,
gone horribly wrong.
Oh yeah.
oh,
Would
yeah.
be blood in the water there for sure. That would not have been a good idea.
The alligators
Uh,
would be happy.
We're gonna have
yeah.
Bond jump an alligator. No, 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 no. He'll he'll be on skis. We'll take him over the alligator tank. No, 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 no. Okay, sharks with lasers.
Sharks. Some
Such a
sharks. Some
freaking
freaking sharks.
lasers. With some
Freaking,
sharks, freaking lasers.
let's have
Uh,
sharks with freaking torpedoes.
Nuclear torpedoes with
Nuclear
lasers.
I want
torpedoes.
$1 million. I meant $1 billion.
Yeah.
100 billion.
But yeah, 4 weeks of filming. I think did I say 51 cars?
Yeah. I mean,
51.
honestly, like 4 weeks to do that, it's amazing what they accomplished. Like,
Incredible, isn't it?
yeah.
Absolutely incredible. But yeah, so um, a lot of destruction in this movie, but
Oh yeah.
not just cars, but also as well.
Aeroplane.
Oh, and
20,
Cosmeti points out the tobacco chewing sheriff's back in the man with the
yes,
golden gun.
Yeah. And done. He's on
he
holiday.
is. Yeah, so it's basically a back-to-back because um, he he's on holiday and he's actually in a boat when it happens,
There you go.
because there's another boat chase. But yeah, the as well as the cars, we've got 21 speedboats and 8 planes and a double-decker bus were all
And a
trashed
double leave us.
for the movie. Um, but yeah, overall, a really good movie. One which has stood the test of time, like most of the Bond movies
I think
have.
so. I mean,
Um,
like, it is. You can accuse it of being problematic, sure, but I think it's still entertaining as hell.
Yeah, you gotta. It was a different time.
Exactly
you
right.
know.
I disagree with the people going, oh no, you can condemn things for different times in history because of modern sensibilities. It's like, no, you can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
You
wouldn't.
you can learn from it, but you can't condemn it because you've
Right.
apparently, the villain Tee with the claw arm inspired the villain Doctor Claw from Inspector Gadget.
Gadget,
There you go.
Apparently, so it was the inspiration for Doctor Claw. I'll get you next time, Gadget. Next time. Always hurts my throat when I do that.
Yeah, only Frank Welker can only pull that off without ruining his throat.
I don't know how he does it. But yeah, I agree. You know, a lot of things in that movie that might be viewed problematic today. But I think overall, if they are viewed in a problematic way, then it's surely because I personally can't see that there's any patronizing of anybody in the movie. I
No.
think it's
As
a
as I said before we started, there was an interview with Yaphet Kotto where someone asked him, and this is like after the movie came out. Like I think it was maybe in the 80s or something. They said, "How do you feel about being in a movie where, you know, you're a black man, you're the villain, and James Bond's the white man who kills you?" And he just said, "I'm the villain. James Bond's the hero. James Bond wins. That's
Yeah,
how it works.
this is it.
I don't
This
have
is
a
it.
problem with that. I got paid to do a role."
Yeah.
Mhm. This is it, and really, it's all down to the fact that
And he's a professional actor too. So
yeah, and it's really about because what would be the alternative that they never get to be in the movie at all,
Exactly.
exactly right.
and the movie never gets made. Well, no, it's it's that's even worse. It's like let's not do this because it might not show certain people in the right light. Well,
Well,
to say that is to say is the it's again low expectations, and it's to say, well, let's just oh well, therefore
Look,
um,
the
well,
thing
we'll
is,
they
just not make the
I
movie.
don't know if either of you ever read the book, but there's quite a bit of nasty language in the book.
yeah.
They didn't put that in the movie at all. There's no point where Bond goes, typical, dot 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 for aiming at Mr. Big or not Scaramanga, Katanga or anything like that. It's just like it's just a person he's dealing with. It wouldn't have
Right.
mattered if the guy was white, Chinese, a Martian, whatever. It's like my government says that you're the enemy. I got to take you out. That's how it is.
Yeah. Well, and people would also focus on Yaphet Kotto's character, but they forget, working with Bond. It
Yeah,
was another black guy, other black guys on the team.
yeah.
So
He gets stabbed to death in New Orleans.
so
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it did. I mean, one thing that Yaphet Kotto did say was the way Kananga dies was a joke.
Oh, it is.
Uh,
It is terribly. Yeah.
yeah, but it wasn't as rewarding as it could have been because he did rewrite or did reimagine as much as he was allowed to the lines he was given from Tom Mankiewicz because some of it was stereotypical
Yeah, and he
and
said, I wouldn't speak like this.
no,
Right,
so to a certain extent he was able to bring something to it. So
which was good. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
But I mean,
and that is the thing is too that is a trap that writers will fall into because Tom Mankiewicz is a white guy, so he's like going, "Oh, I'll write this, this, and this." And it's like, yeah, but that's not how people really talk.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's good to get that input from an actual, from the actual real people. You go,
yeah, I mean, depending on the
how would
writer.
you say that in this scenario? How would you do this? And you go, I would say boom, boom, boom. And you go, all right,
Which is why it's got to be the best movies are alchemies of like it's a conglomeration, it's a corporate
yeah,
effort,
absolutely.
and people working together to
And
get the
that's the
best
thing.
result.
I mean, I know how to write, but I don't know how to write the dialogue of a person who lives in Harlem, New York, in the 1970s. I have no clue how to do that because I'm an Australian, grew up in Australia. It's like, I'd need input.
Yeah. Well, if you want an example, if you want an example of problems where writers write stuff and stick to it, watch Samurai Cop.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
with their
Yeah,
drug deals and their Swiss bank accounts.
oh yeah. Samurai Cop's gold.
Yes.
yeah.
So
As Matty says, I
Okay.
guess I don't have modern sensibilities. Well,
that's
I think there's too much sensibility now, maybe, isn't there? But I think definitely this movie is the only line that sort of like that stuck out for me was the taxi driver says for
For
twenty
20
dollars,
bucks.
I'll take you to a cake you gave me. I don't think anyone would ever say that.
That, that's
No
really
one, that
hard.
is just ridiculous.
I was like,
That's the one line that I can say, yeah, that's like,
that's pretty wrong.
no. Well,
that's like no
I
one
don't
would
know
ever say
that.
that.
I get the joke. It's a
I
good
get
Yeah,
joke.
the joke.
but I
So
mean, it's like I
It's just
think
a
it's
bit rough.
it's a
oh
bit
yeah,
yeah, like you would
it's
want more than
rough.
twenty
Yes.
dollars even in 1973 for that.
I don't know, man. $20 is quite a bit back then. So
$173.
yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like $24 now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're talking British pounds. Good Lord.
Um,
I think we're probably going to be using Venezuelan money if it goes on much longer here.
Yeah,
Um, but anyway, yeah, a very rewarding movie to watch and
absolutely.
well worth
It's
watching. And
spectacular. Thrillers.
oh, absolutely. And like I say, it doesn't. It's not ostentatious in any way, and it doesn't tax the viewer at all, really.
No,
And it sticks to the tried and true methods of James Bond. It doesn't really bring in anything new in respect of that hasn't already been introduced to the James Bond movies, other than it
I,
being of its time, and of
I think
course the theme
I don't
being
think it needed to
yeah,
because it's a new Bond, like a new actor. I think it was by playing it
that was
safe,
the only
by
sort of
yeah,
having
yeah.
Bernard Lee there, Lois Maxwell there, Felix Leiter, having all the stuff that mentioning
It's yeah.
Quarrel on, having all that was a familiarity that they could
It
go.
was
Oh,
to
it's the same
establish
guy.
Roger Moore, wasn't it? They didn't
It's
want to risk anything new, I think, because the new element was the new Bond, and they just wanted to establish him and set him in foundation of this is your new Bond, and
yeah,
the audience loved the movie. I think it was a well, I think really on retrospect, the movie was well made because it achieved what it needed to achieve, and it said, "Look, audience, here's a new Bond, and and trust us, this new actor." It's going to be a fun Bond, and it did. It became, and like I say, it became the longest running Bond actor, didn't he? In the end,
yeah,
um, so it's a very successful start to Roger Moore
absolutely.
as James Bond, and a very successful movie. I don't have the figures for what it did worldwide, but I think it probably did quite well. I can check for you, but I think we have to go now. And once again, obviously, very a lot of thanks to both of my co-hosts tonight, both to Tony and to Ralph for joining me and spending their time watching this movie. It was a joy to watch. It's a really entertaining movie. I'd fully recommend that you watch it if anybody has been interested in watching it. And I do appreciate everybody who joined us in the chat. Obviously to Mark and also to Jordan and also Cosmeti who joined us tonight, and anybody who's going to watch this recorded later. Um, and to everybody who's supported the channel, and we really do appreciate the time that you take to support the channel and to watch these videos. And because there's so many other channels and other content that you can spend your time watching, so really appreciate that. And thanks once again for joining us tonight. I don't know what the next movie is going to be. There's a few suggestions. There's other movie anniversaries coming up this year, and some big ones. So who knows? But for tonight, once again, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure, and
no,
thank you
thank
to everybody who's joined us, and to everybody a very good night.
yeah.
Good
Good
night.
night. Thank you all.
Thank you.